Coulson for a fifth time. The weekly winner is Steve West. Tops and Owens with that 120. There's the second. Beautiful from Botti.
Pool of sharks as Boris Koltsov takes out a beautiful 140 finish.
Oh, that's superb.
Players to
An exhibition of the finest finishing for Derek Coulson. Good evening and welcome to the finals night before Champions Week, where by the end of the season we'll know the full 12. They'll be competing for the £25,000 top prize here at the Modus Super Series. It's going to be a top night full of action, and we've got two top pundits to talk all about it. Former week 12 winner in Chris Mason, and Scott Mitchell, the man who commentated on Chris Mason's exploits in that Week 12. Mason, you've been with us all week. What's been your general thoughts and summations on Week 12?
been lots of stories, hasn't there? Jamie Owens, someone we didn't know, well, relatively little about. It was great to see young Kendrick making his debut as well, only our third player from South Africa. Jarno going 10 from 10, only the fourth player to do it. But the big story probably is the players that didn't qualify, not the ones that did. And yeah, it was a shocker seeing Ted Evitts the way he played, and Daryl Pilgrim, for one, not coming through Group A and then not getting through Group B, which should be easier.
Interesting May says that, because maybe two of the biggest names this week were Daryl Pilgrim and Ted Evitts, and they both suffered early exits.
Yeah, and if you look at what they were averaging in their group, it seems crazy that they went out at the stages they did. Daryl Pilgrim being sort of runner-up of Group A, you thought, well, that's just a little kind of blip. That's a warm-up to the week. He'd probably had a long weekend at the Challenge Tour before, and you just thought he was going to wake up and get himself through it, and that didn't kind of happen. And Ted, well, he was averaging so well. I was watching bits last night, and it just wouldn't fall his way. He was just kind of unlucky, I think. Yeah,
I think what could go wrong went wrong for both of them in the end, and sometimes you have no control over that. That's just it's just the stars not aligning.
Well, let's talk about the players that are into tonight's final. These are the 6 finalists that will be vying it out for that final place at Champions Week starting on Monday morning. Jamie Owens, Boris Koltsov, Andy Davidson, Mark McGeeney, Jarno Bottenberg and Derek Coulson will all be here. Well, let's talk about the story that got the players to this particular point. And we go back to Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. when Group A got underway. Daryl Pilgrim was the 3-10 favourite to go on and win the group, but it was the 66-1 outsider, Jamie Owens, the part-time footballer from Stockton-on-Tees, that went on to grab glory. And you have to say, throughout the whole course of the campaign, Mace, he was cool, calm, collected.
Yeah, and I'm very much the opposite of what we were talking about with regards to Ted and Daryl. Everything sort of just fell into place for him, and when he was given opportunities, he was good enough to take them, and that's all you can do. My main fear for him tonight would be the levels. He's averaging around 86 for the week, and well, for those of you that tuned in and watched last night, it was played at a much higher level than that. But he's making his debut in terms of a big stage and a big finals night, certainly something of this size, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds. Some people get inspired.
Well, we should have known he was going to be all right. If he's a good finisher at football, surely he was always going to be a good finisher on the dartboard. I mean, it kind of impressed me. He went about his business with just a bit of belief, wasn't it? It was not like he was having to overstretch himself at times, and he was believing in everything that he was doing, and that's what impressed me about him the most.
Yeah, and when we spoke to him, he was pleased to have got through, obviously, but he was saying, "Oh, I've got plenty more gears to come. Don't worry about that." So it will be interesting just to see what he has left in the locker for tonight.
Do you believe there's a transfer of mentalities from the football side to the dart side?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think those moments, particularly when you're going for a double or trying to leave a set up or whatever, it's got to be very similar. And that mindset that he's used in another sport, he's brought it to darts very well. And I don't think he's the only player that's ever done that. I think we've got a lot of, you only got to look at Gezi Price. So I believe that there are certain sports that can interact and you can bring a similar mentality and have similar results.
I mean, you imagine taking a penalty under that much pressure. And I suppose that it will translate over to darts because you're used to performing under pressure.
And of course, he played in an FA Vase final at Wembley Stadium. Well, Group B was perhaps the most intriguing group of the week. Boris Koltsov, Andy Davidson and Mark McGeeney making it through. We spoke about the early exits of Ted and Darryl. Let's talk about the players that did make it through. And in particular, Boris Koltsov, mate, who was the 5-1 outsider before a dart was thrown. We said that was too big, and that was mainly because of his finishing prowess.
Yeah, it was over 40%, and we were taking that over a really big sample. And Boris is one of these type of players, although he has not had a lot of competitive darts or high-level darts for a while. Coming in on the Monday was perfect for him because he could just ease himself in. We've seen Neil Duff do it all the time. He might have just been on holiday for a week, not had a lot of practice, comes in on the Monday. By the Wednesday, you start to see him move through the gears, and more, well, especially lately, Thursday and Friday and Saturday, he's doing the business. And I think that's very similar to how Boris has approached it this week because he looks rock solid at times.
In terms of Andy Davidson, Scott, we were here when he won his week on debut, and he's kind of been on this roller coaster ride ever since. But this week may be the first time he came up against some hurdles and came out the other side okay. What does that say about a player when you can do that?
Well, we know what he's done up to now, and there has to be an element of realism comes and hits you. It's all gone his own way on his way to where he's been. And sometimes you have to have those little knocks, don't you, Mace, to make you realise, actually, what I have been doing has been pretty good, and I need to find my way back there. But I'm still so impressed with him, and I think probably more impressive to make it tonight to finals like than maybe the other occasions that he has.
Yeah, because he did it comfortable on those occasions. There wasn't too much resistance, but and your attitude changes as a player. You can believe all you like, you can do it in practice, you can do it locally, but when you actually go up there and you win something of note, that then gives you some genuine inner belief as well, and then that will translate into you maybe taking a few more risks, applying yourself a bit more, showing a bit more dedication, and just putting some more work in.
It's one of those rungs where you're going up the ladder, aren't you? You're going up the ladder, and when you get to somewhere like here and you're making finals nights and you win, you don't come back down off of that rung, do you? You step up onto it, and that's where you are. That's your level.
And that's what we say about Luke Humphries, the way he literally has gone through every level, completed that, all the way literally through every level. If it was a game, he's completed it.
In terms of Mark McGeeney, Scott, you're a player who's played with him, played against him. As a player, how difficult is he to play against? Because this week he showed such rock-solid consistency.
I will tell you, he's absolutely fabulous to play alongside in an England shirt. I will tell you that. And he's just the most horrible player to play because you know that he has this inner determination. He has this inner strength. And when Mark's feeling that he's good, he is generally very, very good. When he's not quite feeling on it, probably he's his biggest problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sometimes the other player. I think it's him sometimes not quite believing in himself. It's sometimes his downfall.
And his throw is quite complex. And some days when you've got throws like that, well, even when you've got a good throw, some days it won't work. For whatever reason, there's no explanation. The timing's off a little bit. There can be contributing factors to that. But when his throw is right, and we actually seen several stages of that this week when I picked it out with Henry and comms, and when he gets it right, he's still got a really good game.
It's very, very right, isn't it? And it looks like it's not going to ever go anywhere else.
And not break down.
And I've stood behind him and watched that, and you think, wow, I wish I could have that.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, Mark. Listen, he was around when I was playing, so we played many times in sort of local competitions, and he's a proper dart player when he's on.
In terms of Group C, Jarno Bottenberg became just the fourth player in Super Series history to win 10 out of 10 matches. Now, he wasn't at his best in Group A, Mace, but what did he do so well in Group C just to change his fortunes around?
Yeah, I want particularly, this is a guy that's won the Dutch Open, and that was a tournament I could get nowhere near winning. And I expected a lot. And in Group A, I just didn't see anything that I thought, well, this guy's special. But my goodness, didn't he turn that around in Group C? He was absolutely on it, and every element of his game looked on point. My only worry with that is that where is his ceiling? Mm-hmm. That's what I want to find out with these guys. How high can they go? he doesn't lack confidence, that's for sure at the moment, and he's another player that's utilised the opportunity of having a full week and playing himself into form. He spoke with us and said, after winning the Dutch Open and the Dutch Championship, my form just disappeared. And it's been a few months since then. But he's loved it here this week, and rightly so.
Well, when you win those things, that comes with a certain amount of sort of expectation after that happens. So that's only natural for somebody that isn't used to winning things like that, for that to happen to them. But I think all Dutch players have this certain ceiling and position that they feel they should be within the game. And the only people they let down 9 times out of 10 are themselves when they don't reach it. They're not too upset with other people, but they set themselves this target, which we all do. But the Dutch players do it in such a way that they are so disappointed in themselves if they don't do it.
Yeah, they're more concerned about the average than the win. And I think that's probably the effect of players like Raymond and Michael, who've set the bar so high. They all think, well, I should be able to do that. But I agree with Scott. What it can do is it just adds pressure, and it'll break you mentally. If your focus point is averages, and you're judging your ability on, oh well, he averaged 110, I want to do it. You're in for a long career.
You sometimes forget that you can win with a 78.
Yeah.
And the win's the win, and you're still in. But some of them won't be happy with that. They've won with a 78 and the world's fall apart.
As I coined the phrase, they do not write averages on trophies.
Well, on that subject, what about Derek Coulson, somebody you've played alongside at the seniors a fair bit? On day one, not his best, but strung 3 straight wins straight onto the end to get himself through. He's one of those players who was so unlucky last time, but averaged well, played worse this time, and how darts can be so funny at times, he found a way through.
Well, you get us old guys like myself and Derek, we do worry about those things. He would have came here worrying that he averaged so well last time and didn't get through, and he was probably panicking and thinking, I've got to get somewhere near that, and that's probably what held him up maybe the first day, maybe second day. But we've seen at the seniors that the seniors are for people like Derek, who we are finding now who probably we hadn't seen in their younger years, but they are playing some super darts, and he's come here, and I think he's a really steady, solid player, and he's one of those, if you give him half a look, he will take it.
Yeah, I mean, his undoing mainly was missing doubles, and he'd go through spells of not missing doubles, and then the final 3 matches, which he had to win them all, he went 12 from 22 on the doubles and averaged 95, 91 and 94, I think. So the game's there. He's had 105 this season at the seniors, so he's got game in him, and I think that's what makes tonight so intriguing. I think you could make a case for every one of the 6 players in winning tonight's final qualifying weeks.
Well, let's have a look at tonight then. These are the groups that are in play. Group 1, Jamie Owens, Andy Davidson and Derek Coulson. Group 2, Boris Koltsov, Jarno Bottenberg and Mark McGeeney. Let's have a look at the odds for this evening and see where the land lies. Now, Mace, Andy Davidson, 11-4 favourite to win the night. Is that based more on form of the past, more than form of the present?
I think a bit of both. I think they've looked at the fact that he won on debut and he's through to another finals night. I think it's also a lot to do with everyone else's levels. I actually think Boris played a little bit better than him. I thought Mark McGeeney played a little bit better in spells as well. I mean, for me, as just to pick one from the outside, I'd go Mark McGeeney at 7-1. He has got as much chance as everybody else.
I was just about to say exactly the same. If Mark sees that caption in that back room, oh yeah, so I'm the worst one in the room, am I really? And that could give him a bit of a G up that we're not expecting. The other one, I think Boris is going to be one of those. He's been away from such competition for 2.5 years.
Yep.
He has got to be champing at the bit to get this opportunity here and now have this big opportunity to win tonight.
Yeah,
and put himself right back on the map. He's going to absolutely be on it. You would have thought.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The one that sort of stands out to me all the time, and it has done all week, is Boris. You know, I got to see Boris up close when we first started, when we were doing this from home, and he was throwing some remarkable stuff. And I was unsure what version of Boris we were going to get, but. I said he's got as much chance as everybody, and I'm with Scott as well. He will want to put himself right back out there and say, "Don't worry, I'm still here, lads."
Only good players win week 12, right, Mace?
Correct.
Right, gents.
And the odd world championship.
The odd world champ. Well, gents, thanks for your input now. We'll hear your calls on comms as the night progresses. Game 1 of our evening sees Derek Coulson and Jamie Owens go toe-to-toe. And early on this evening, I caught up with Jamie. Jamie, been quite the dream week for yourself here at the Super Series. Could you expected your debut to have gone as well as it has?
I wouldn't say I expected as good as I did, but I had a couple of people said how good I've been playing and that, and they said I'd give a few shocks, but I didn't expect it. But after the first day, the bad start to the second day where I missed so many doubles to go, maybe one, especially one game I should have won, and then I actually said to Boris and Daryl backstage, I said, I need to beat you two, and they were like laughing at themselves, and it went my way. And then the final day, the pressure was off really. It was how I started with a win, and then someone was looking over me, like I said earlier on, it worked out good.
What's the response been like back home? Because you actually went back, didn't you, after the group was done?
So I travelled straight back Wednesday. I met the guys, said farewell, obviously, in case any of them left. I went home and everyone was buzzing, to be honest, especially on social media. I got loads of messages, like 150 text messages. And like a lot of people were saying, Jamie, we didn't realise you played darts. Like, it's like, I said, to be fair, I do it low key. I only play, like I said, here twice a week. I like to play a little bit more on my own, but I get out and have a bit of competitive practice twice a week. Hopefully, if I do well tonight, and I've also done well this week, it might be a little bit more now.
Are you allowed to free roll this evening, or have you set some big goals and expectations?
It's tough because obviously Andy's in my side of the draw. I've been watching him. He's got better as the week went on. But then I look back at what I've done this week and run an average of one day in 89. Like, it's good enough to beat them all. If I can turn up today like I did, possibly like I did every game against Daryl, I could make the semi. And then it's every game, you know. You have to get off with a fast start today. You have to.
We wish you all the best, Jamie. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And it's creeping ever closer towards Group A glory. Tops and Owens with that 120. There's the second, and Jamie Owens wins in style. And it's a debut that's going to see him into the finals. Yes, Jamie Owens, the part-time footballer, now part-time dart star. His Super Series debut fling has seen him into Saturday night. And he takes on the man who's making his Saturday night bow in Derek Coulson. Second appearance for him here, narrowly missed out the last time he played. As for Jamie Owens, he is looking to book his spot through on debut to Champions Week. Let's hand over then to your commentary team for all of tonight's action. It's the former world champion Scott Mitchell, and first a very good evening to Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Scott. Well, it's going to be fast and furious for you this evening. We start with a Group 1 match between, as you just heard in the interview, a part-time footballer and a part-time, soon-to-be, possibly, full-time dart player. I'm sure if he picks up the spoils tonight and goes on to win next week.
First leg, it's Jamie to
I'm
throw
pretty
first.
sure we'll see him in Q School in January. May well see him there regardless. Our referee for the night, Jack Garwood. I've just been looking at the numbers, Scott, and in qualifying over his 3 days and 15 matches,
59.
Jamie accrued 17 180s and a tournament average. So all of his games combined of 87.14. In Derek's 8 matches, he had 13 180s, so that may
57.
well play its part in this match. And a running average of 85.76.
All on the night, isn't it, mate? It's all on the night. There's nothing much between those two.
No, there's very little between all the players. If I'm honest, when I look at the highs of the players, a
45.
high of for Jamie of 99.85. So we know where his ceiling is. Derek
80.
had a high of 95.43, and that 99.85 is the highest of all the 6 players in action this evening.
140.
Me, it's all about how quickly the lads settle down. This is kind of quite new to the pair of them, this situation that they find themselves in. And That will settle Jamie Owens down very nicely indeed.
Yeah, it's not quite knockout darts, but it's pretty much as close as it gets, isn't it?
I know when I'm here at this stage, I treat it as
44.
knockout.
Jamie, you require
And if you don't
83.
win, you've got to make sure you don't go down by too many.
Game shot on the first leg, Jamie Owens.
Very, very tidy start indeed. A 14 dart hold, which
Second leg is
would
Derek
have meant,
to throw
of course,
first.
that
Game
Derek
on.
would have had to have produced a 12. I think he's just gesturing to his friends and possibly family who've travelled down that he's a little bit nervous. You wouldn't have known, Scott.
95.
No, not with a nice little finish like that. That was very untidy indeed.
Ten.
Not the kind of 10 the players want to hit. Want to hit 10 darters. Yeah, looking at all the highs, Boris had a 99.2 in his campaign this week. Jamie, as I said, 99.85.
96.
Jarno, and this is something that we were discussing at the top of the show. He had a high, and remember, he's played 5 days of darts, 25 matches, a high of 93.25.
100.
Derek, 95.43. Andy Davidson, 97.1. And Mark McGeeney, our little fancy, 96.22.
100.
I think we could see by the bet it's quite an open field and there's not a lot going to be divided.
They're not
these.
massively sure, are they?
No,
100.
nobody's massively sure, and that's a sign of how tight the group is going to be with those odds we saw in the start of the show.
It's got 9 dart shootout written all over it tonight.
85. 57. Derek, you require 125.
That's the 25. That's the treble 20.
105.
Good effort. Welcome along to everybody joining us, whether you're watching via YouTube or your chosen app. If you are a social media user, we're
64.
across all
Derek, you
platforms
require
at MSS
20.
Darts. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the action. Please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell. And give us a thumbs up while you're at it. Might as well do all 3.
Game shot on the second leg, Derek Coulson.
So statistically, double 10 is better for the left-handers. We keep hearing, and on that occasion,
Third leg,
it
it's
was for
Jamie to
Derek
throw
Coulson.
first.
Yeah,
Game on.
we did discuss that, and I've got a few theories, and body position being one of them for the left-hander opposed to a right-hander. And if you're right-eye dominant, of course, you
81.
effectively side onto the board. So if you're a left-hander, your left eye is closest to the target, and you unknowingly sight the dart with the dominant eye.
97.
You got me blinking and all sorts next to you here, thinking about what eye's what, Mace. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm trying to
96.
work out what's my favourite double now.
Well, probably down the left-hand side. I'm rubbish at all of them, so.
60.
My favourite's whichever one I hit.
Yeah, same. Yeah, if you do want to talk to us, direct into the commentary box, you can do so
57.
via our social medias, or you can use the chat room in the right-hand side of your YouTube screen.
140.
Keep them civil, keep them sensible, and we'll endeavour to answer them. Simon. Love to see the players stay on and support
58.
the players left in. Some good friendships get built up here at the Super Series. Meet players that you've never met before and build up a good rapport.
Even players that you've been in the same room for years and probably haven't actually sat on the same table like you're kind of have to do here. It's something, as Kendrick from earlier in the week, good to see him. And like you say, he's forged some friendships this week that he probably would have never had.
121. Derek, you require
Derek
64.
threatening to break through here. Lovely first start. Can he slide it down the side?
48.
See,
Jamie
left-handers.
require 88.
Don't like it on the left.
Yeah, he tried to use it, didn't he? But it just caught the wrong side. Wow. The bullseye.
63.
Not a million miles
Derek, you
away, was
require
he?
16. Game shot on the third leg. Derek Coulson.
Oh, Derek does get the break. And Jack asks, why is there so little crowd in tonight?
Fourth leg.
Well,
It's Derek to throw first.
I think when you look
Game on.
at the lineup, there's trying to think who would be the most local player, and it'd still be a good 4-hour drive away.
There is
83.
also a local festival on at the moment.
Yes, there is.
Here
Yeah.
in Portsmouth, a big
Music festival, isn't there?
over 3 days, and that won't be on this week where this one will be.
Yeah.
128.
Sold out next week. In fact, Henry was the said music festival last night on a Jolly Boys outing.
60.
One thing I notice here with Jamie already, he holds his dart that he's not
43.
throwing by the point, by
Yep.
quite a strange way. It's not,
So
not
it
a
sort of
normal
hangs
way.
down. Yeah, I picked up on it in the week, and I was like, it's very rare to see a player do that. I'd be too concerned it's gonna drop on the floor.
123.
I remember John Boy taking me to one side once. John Boy Walton, God bless him, and said, I think you're a great player, Scotty, but I don't think you're ever going to make it because you passed your dart too far to your throwing hand. You pass it away from too far. I don't think you're going to win anything.
100.
So thank you, John Boy. My dear friend. We're dear friends now. But yeah, back in the day when I was a bit wet behind the ears at these tournaments.
65.
Yeah. Eric, favorite one. Do you breathe when you're throwing?
And then you're like, oh, do I? I don't.
Tied Rod Arrington up in knots. That
66. Derek, you require 170.
Michael, well spotted. Gary Hayes is watching in the crowd. Good pals with Jamie Owens. It would be quite remarkable, you know, if it's on. And that
Game
is
shot
our
on a fourth
100th,
leg. Derek Coulson.
170 here at the new venue.
Fifth
Nice
leg.
stuff
It's
from
Jamie to
Coulson.
throw
Nice
first.
stuff.
Game
I
on.
wonder if he's done the quick fire questions yet. If you've left it and you don't have to go for it, do you still go for it? I think we just found the answer out.
Well, he could well have laid up, that's for sure.
92. $45. $41.
Actually, I saw Cam Menzies do that last week. He laid up on a 167 and his opponent took a 161.
Ooh, harsh. He played brilliant, didn't he, for 2 days? Of course, people didn't tune in to watch the PDC TV. Scott was
140.
commentating up in Milton Keynes on the Pro Tours 18 and 19, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
so-
time I'd done it. It was, absolutely brilliant. Strange to be back in the room, having been there as a player.
Yeah.
And you start thinking, was I playing like that? And the answer is no. That's why I'm commentating.
But Cammy was brilliant for
85.
2 days, wasn't he?
I think
Outstanding.
both him and Dobie were brilliant for 2 days. It took somebody special to stop Dobie the first day, and that was Cammy. And he made it to the final, and then it took somebody special to stop Cammy the second day, and that was Dobie in the final.
97.
Someone asking, does next week's Modus start on Monday? Yep, 9:30. We don't worry about bank holidays yet. 50 weeks of the year. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9:30 start.
135.
Thursday and Friday is double session days. 1 till about 5-ish, and then 10 till about 1:30-ish. And then Saturday nights, as always,
99.
7:30
Derek, you require 96.
I get the feeling here, watching in the last couple of minutes, Jamie Owens would be slightly happier if the pace of this game was a little quicker.
56. Jamie, you require 114.
Well, you'd be an expert on that, Scott.
I don't mind either way. I just do my thing and that's it.
I know.
I'm not bothered about
That's
anybody
what
else.
I meant.
74. Derek, you
Tied it
require
up, but
40.
maybe too little, too late. Double 10. Finds
Big
it.
shot, and
And
the
Derek
match,
Coulson
Derek Coulson.
makes the ideal start, beating the fancied Jamie Owens 4 legs to 1. No real double trouble for Coulson, which has been an Achilles heel for the most part this week. 40%. And of course, that wonderful 170 finish. All the 8s, maybe lucky. 88.08 for Derek, 82.05 for Jamie Owens. When we come back after a short break, we will return to Group 2 for Boris Koltsov against Mark McGeeney.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Derek Coulson got his campaign off to a winning start, a 4-1 success against Jamie Owens, netting the 100th 170 finish in Super Series history in the process. So he is in a very good position to make it through, but we now begin our contest as far as Group 2 is concerned. It sees Boris Koltsov in action in his debut in this competition, and he really has been one of the most consistent sparks as far as this week is concerned. An early one this evening, I caught up with him. Boris, welcome to finals night on your debut here at the Super Series. Has this week been a case of getting better as the week's gone along?
I played my game and that is what it is. I like to say, like, that is what it is.
I beat some good players in the Group B. Also, the Group A, I finished third, and that's it. And we see today what's happened.
Let's talk about that Group B campaign on Thursday and Friday. You must have been really delighted about the way you played at times.
Yeah, so many good names. Ted Evans, Darrell, Mark, unbelievable. I'm very happy to finish first, to be fair. And the last game also, before I go up on stage, I know I finished first already, and that's why I throw my darts, and I'm already happy. But I'm always coming on the tournaments to be number one, to beat anyone. Like, I don't care about who I play. I play against me, against the board. Mm-hmm. That's it.
In terms of this evening, different element in front of the crowd. Is that something that inspires you?
It's better for me, to be fair, when I play up on the stage and have a crowd and have people around me, because I take the energy from them. Because when you play the first 5 days and this is quiet and you hear everything what's happened around you, but when the people inside here, it's fantastic. I like to play with the crowd.
And it'd be some way to cap off what's been a great week if you could lift the trophy a little bit later. I
hope so, but it's very, very hard for me to stay one more week. But I do everything to stay here.
Well, we've enjoyed having you here, and we look forward to watching you tonight, Boris. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the live lounging portal where we're going to see Boris Koltsov in action up against Mark McGeeney. It's our second match of the session. These two went toe-to-toe in Group B on Thursday and Friday night, respectively. Koltsov winning that particular group, McGeeney finishing third. But what are they going to do on this Saturday night? Let's find out. Scott Mitchell, Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. Well, if he wants to play in front of a crowd, he's going to have to qualify and win tonight to play next week and then qualify for finals night, because it is a sold out. But this is going to be a fascinating little tie. This is their third meeting of the week. Boris won on Thursday night, 4-3.
First
and then
leg,
Mark
it's
won
Boris
last night, 4-3.
Game on.
I suppose the difference there is who had the darts when they're both 4-3.
42.
Probably held the throw. Both
The opposite.
broke throw in the last.
Yeah, both against the darts.
26.
Mark used to use a very small flight in the back of his darts, and now he uses
108.
a slightly larger kite with a very sort of Phil Taylor-like-esque flight that really, if you've ever seen one or used one of those flights, it feels like you've got nothing in there.
So hard to throw, aren't they? I never got on with them. That was the 31st. Oh,
120.
nearly 32nd 180 of the week for Boris. Mark at 8 in his campaign in Group B. High finish of
48.
120. A high finish for Boris of 140. Boris has
99.
had 4 ton plus outs across the week. Jarno has had more than twice as many as the rest of the field. He's on 10.
100.
The highest,
Boris, you
only
require
being
60.
1-2-1.
Well, Boris here to take the first
On
leg.
the first leg, Boris Koltsov.
And that's how the opening match started, Scott, for Jamie. With
Second
a
leg,
14
it's Mark
dart
to throw
hold.
first. Game
And
on.
it all went pear-shaped from there. Mark McGeeney will be hoping the same.
180.
There's McGeeney's 9th of the week so far. You mentioned that he had 8. Oh,
108.
back at you from Koltsov.
This one is starting to warm up nicely.
$140. $91.
Good thinking at the last start. Well, he won't want to fill it now. Too good.
170.
Yeah, he's a big double. He loves double 18, does Mark?
Yes.
It's his favourite double, and he tries to do things to try and head over to that route.
60. Mark, you require 11.
Well, his route here will be 3 for double 4. Just about gets the 3.
Game Shauna's second leg.
Very,
Mark McGeeney.
very solid leg. 12 dart, hold of throat.
Third leg. It's Boris to throw first. Game on.
Boris would have needed a 9 there, and he started with a
40.
max, but couldn't follow.
McGeeney has let him know he's here now.
180.
I'm sure people must have scoffed when me and you said, "I got a funny feeling for McGeeney." You see why?
Yeah, absolutely.
90.
Well, World Cup silver medal for the pairs with Mark.
Who beat you?
I think it might have been Wesley Harms and Richard Veenstra, I think.
26.
Or it might have been Jeffrey de Graaf. It might have been Jeffrey de Graaf, actually. It might have been a bit early for Richard Veenstra.
100.
Jeffrey now, of course, has moved to Sweden and speaks Swedish. So annoying.
140.
He's really rejuvenated his career, hasn't he, of late, Jeffrey?
Yeah, very much has. And
Played some lovely stuff down here
85.
last year
Mark, you
before getting the
require
card.
155.
yeah, it seems to be about this place, doesn't it? It seems to be a really good sort of stepping stone.
Yeah, a proving ground. Double 19 for back-to-back 12 dart legs. You beauty.
Game Shauna, third leg. Mark McGeeney. Fourth leg. It's Mark to throw first. Game on.
Problem is when you've done back-to-back 12 darters, how do you keep that up?
66.
I don't know.
I was going to say, I should. I was thinking to myself, perhaps you would know. I don't.
85.
My best in a best of 5 was 10, 11, 10 with a bounce out in the 11. But over, I mean, that was in the
93.
Somerset Open. Well, not exactly a major, but
100. $140. $95.
so Mark McGeeney still in a position of dominance. Lovely 140. Takes him down to 62. So it's not going to be a 12 darter, but potential for a 14.
81. Mark, you requires 62.
Well, the 14 darter is on. Yep, it's in the trouble. Hole 16 for 3-1. Can he use that? Can he slide down the side?
30.
He did. Very
Boris, you
unlucky.
require 140.
Oh, Boris has had a 140 out this week. He's not going to get it now. And again, someone so prolific in and around the treble 20. I'm surprised at the
30.
switch
you
to the
require
18s,
32.
which is very much made popular by a certain Rob Cross.
Game Jarno, 4 flag, Mark McGeeney.
The average is dipped for McGeeney. 101.42.
5th flag, it's Boris
Boris
to throw
is
first.
very good.
Game on.
92.28.
I think sometimes Mark needs that to keep himself on it and keep himself concentrated.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a player that you almost feel that needs to be stimulated in a match.
135.
Yeah, he loves to go toe-to-toe with you.
Yeah, likes to trade.
100.
So close to being a BDO world champion in 2018. I think he had a dart or 2 darts at double 18.
Yes, he did, yeah. Took him a while to
100.
recover from that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, and we saw the same with Mike Gregory, didn't we? It
140.
rears its ugly head now and again.
Mark says, maybe I'm wrong, but does anyone else think Luke Littler looks burnt out or fed up?
58.
burnt
Boris
out,
require
17.
121.
Playing darts at the weekend. Travelling first class, yeah, he must be. Got it. No, I didn't play at 17, but at 20 I could play
83.
for 10 hours a day.
Yeah, you had to come and tell me to put them down back at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember doing Eric exhibitions with Bobby. I can't tell you or use the exact words, but
45.
it was get that
Boris
boy off
require
that dartboard.
38.
Because I'd be going, anybody else want a game? At midnight.
30.
And he will be back. Oh, if this information is correct, congratulations to Nick Kenny, who's just won the Champions of Champions. And that's,
43.
you look at the
Boris
players over the
require
years that
8.
have won that and gone on to do great things.
Tough one to win that.
Game
Oh.
Jarno, 5th flag.
Best of
Boris
3 all the
Koltsov.
way through. Very similar to
6th
News of the
flag,
World,
it's
of
Mark
course.
to throw
Well,
first.
that was the news of the
Game
world.
on.
Best of 3 all the way through.
That was from qualifying rounds in your
Yes.
areas and then
To the
your-
grand
then your
finals.
yeah, right the way to the grand final. And probably where Bobby George made his name.
140.
Yeah. It was the only big tournament that Alan Evans won.
134.
Second win then for Koltsov here in this match.
Well, you'd think McGeeney here on throw
125.
will just have enough to fend off the Koltsov comeback.
81. $85. $140. Mark, you
puts
require
him back in touch in the leg.
151.
I was going to say McGeeney already had a 155. Needs a treble.
60. Boris, you require 146.
Downstairs somewhere. Yeah, double 8 left.
130. Mark, you require
So the 91 under pressure here for the match.
Does he go bull or does he go aggressive? Goes aggressive. Treble 14. Doesn't get it. So Boris
51.
is going to get a
Boris,
sniff
you
at the double 8 for a level
16.
game.
Game Jarno, 6th flag. Boris Koltsov.
Marcus says, is losing slightly less painful
Seventh
if you
and final
haven't
leg.
had
It's
darts
Boris
to win
throw
it?
first.
Yes,
Game on.
absolutely.
Unless you look back at the 45 you hit halfway down the leg.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stopped you getting a go at it. But yeah.
140.
This really has been a game of 2 or 3 turning points, hasn't it? Boris opened up and went really well. McGeeney broke him back and then went on a little run of himself on his own. And now you would have to say momentum was with Koltsov, but this could be a nervy affair from here.
78.
Oh, it's such a big game to win. And like you rightly
60.
said, Scott, if you are going to lose, just lose 4-3. If you want to, well, you don't want to lose, but if you are going to lose, it's all about damage limitation. Oh, another one.
120.
Yeah, left him on a bogey, and should McGeeney fill this up,
140.
that would have really, really hurt.
It's all about this visit, isn't it? And he's going to leave.
131.
Absolutely nothing Mark can do about it. It's not exactly been a horrible leg from him.
60.
Down to a
Boris
finish after
required
12,
32.
but isn't going to get a go. Double 16 incoming.
Shot and
And
the match,
Boris, with a 14
Koltsov.
darter, started the match with a 14 darter, finished it with a 14. A real high quality match as expected from these two. Highlight of the match for McGeeney. Oh, the back-to-back 12s and that lovely 155 out. Here are the numbers. As you can see, Boris just with the higher average of the two, 96.03. Full 180s between them and 50% on the doubles for Mark. Just didn't get a go at one in the final leg, 40% for Boris. Right, when we come back after the break, it's back to Group 1. Derek Coulson can secure his spot in the semi-finals with a win over Andy Davidson.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeats. And what a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
Well, what a way to finish a 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only needs the one.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you
Labanov.
saying about efficiency?
Shot on the third leg. Reece
Is that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Well, Smith, is it a
Darius Labanowski.
9? Took me a long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot. And the
Oh,
match.
he gets the job
Andreas
done
Harrison.
in the end. He's nodding in total
Game shot on the
agreement
second
because
leg. Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just
Darius
like that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. There you can see.
That she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him, and is. It was a great guide.
Game shot on the first leg. Andreas
It's a
Harrison.
breaker throw for Andres Harrison.
Game shot on the second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead.
The fifth leg. Game shot on the
It's not an
sixth
11,
leg.
but it's a beautiful 12, double 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Boris Koltsov sealed a comeback win, getting the better of Mark McGeeney by 4 legs to 3 in a real high-quality second contest of our evening session. We're going to take a break from Group 2 for now to return to our Group 1 action, which sees Derek Coulson in action. He needs just a couple of legs to progress his way through to the semi-finals, having already amassed a 4-1 victory earlier on this evening. He takes on Andy Davidson, who's looking to make it to back-to-back Champions Weeks, and earlier on this evening I caught up with him. Andy, fair to say a Group B of 2 halves for yourself?
Potentially, yeah. I don't feel I played that great. I've picked up in the last 2 matches there. I'm just relieved to get through, because on paper that was such a tough group. So for me to just even be in the top 3 and get through to tonight, I'm over the moon with that.
Did we learn something different about you over the last couple of days? Because when we've seen you here previously, you've played some tremendous stuff, but maybe that Group B not your best, but you still found ways of winning matches.
Yeah, maybe that was the difference, because I know my scoring has certainly been nowhere near, but I felt my clutch finishing certainly, I think, it bailed me out more than a couple of times. So I'm just thankful that the doubles went in, and fingers crossed I saved my best for tonight.
In terms of tonight, because of what happened in Group B, do you just almost treat it as a completely brand new tournament?
Yeah, I think so, because I've got nothing to lose again tonight. Well, certainly that's the way I approach it. Like I did when I was back here in week 4. I had nothing to lose, and I did play a decent finals night last time, so if I can replicate that, who knows, I could go all the way again.
Do you still see yourself as the underdog?
I do, absolutely. Yeah, the only pressure you put on this game is what you put on yourself, and I try as much as possible to not put any pressure on myself. The fact I'm just playing here, to be invited back for another shot in this series, that's good enough for me. So I'll make the most of it, hopefully.
What is the mindset when you get that second invitation to play in the series? What goes through your mind when you get that second shot, and then when you walk back through the building again?
Well, I was surprised initially, but I just felt I just did nothing wrong in my previous week here. So when I got that second bite at the cherry, I thought, well, try and make the most of it. If it doesn't go too well, I am in the next series. That's also been confirmed. So bit of a free roll for me.
Do you believe in redemption?
Maybe, who knows? We'll see. I'm just going to be relaxed and play my best tonight. Hopefully they'll go. If it doesn't, I do have another go at it. So we'll see how they go again.
We wish you well, Andy. Good luck.
Thanks, Henry.
Oh, it doesn't matter what he does. If Andy Davidson does things like that.
Round off a near immaculate display. The bullseye. To finish in style.
Well, this is Scott against the Scott. And this Scott is doing remarkable things.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. 164 goes.
The beautiful surroundings of the live lounge in Portsmouth. This time next week, there is not a seat to be had in the building, as Champions Week will be in full swing. Champions Night will be in full swing. And on this Saturday evening, we're in full swing as well. Derek Coulson needs just a couple of legs to make it through. Andy Davidson with a win will put himself in good stead. In commentary for our third game of the night is Scott Mitchell and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. What a lovely, level-headed attitude Andy Davidson has got.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him when I saw him that first week. I was on comms that week, and I kind of said, where the hell have you been hiding, kid? It was super impressive, and I think the parts that we all love about Andy Davidson are all the bits that you can't teach.
Yes.
They have to be natural. It has to be. You have to have that
First
line of
leg,
thought. You
it's
can't
Derek
teach
to throw
it.
first.
And he just.
Game on.
He's just one of those guys that you just feel that I really, you really wish good things for him in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just got well, you can tell he's been brought up well. Let's put it that way.
96.
He's just an all-round lovely chap with a great outlook and a great attitude who loves his darts and doesn't
24.
put too much pressure on himself like that.
He's just had a
Absolute
terrible
bag of nails.
Absolute bag of nails, terrible score, and he gave himself the thumbs up at the board. Said, yeah, well done, Andy. What an opener.
100.
Problem for him is here, he's obviously a little bit cold. We've both played in this situation. And Derek's
85.
obviously got the fact that he's won his first game as well. So he won't be feeling a great deal of pressure, Derek.
No.
And, of course, he won that first game against the throw as well. So he now has the throw. So you've got all the confidence in the world, and it was only a game ago. It's not like he's got to wait another 2 or 3 games to jump back on and get it. So it's very different for during the week.
Still in that zone, still in that mindset. And like you say, it takes a leg and a bit just to shake the nerves off and get the breathing in order, get the heart rate down, and just start to really switch on. And I don't care who you are. That's the same for every player, but these guys, it's even more of an issue because they don't have that experience of dealing with it.
No, not at all.
85. Derek, you require 167.
I think that's what makes tonight's so intriguing. We know that probably McGeeney is the standout as experience goes.
Yeah.
But we know that he's not always in the last 6 months
45.
playing the best darts of his career. Is this going to be the night that gives him a kick on, or is it going to give Andy Davidson the kick on? It's a really special night. Whoever it is,
you require 122.
they will jump back into next week and have a.
They're not even have time to enjoy winning it.
Not at all. They probably won't even have time to answer all the messages and everything that will come through on social media.
42.
It'll be straight back
Andy,
in.
you require 151. $28.
We will, of course, be
Derek,
discussing
you require 80.
next week's lineup and the groups later on, in between the semi-final and final.
40. Andy, you require 123. $98.
Almost
Derek, you require 40.
picks his pocket.
I think Davidson will learn something from this game, from the pace of Derek Coulson. He will have to learn how to deal with this type of thing as time goes on. And
Game shot on the
Yeah,
first
you're
leg.
gonna
Derek
walk
Coulson.
into players much quicker and certainly much slower. It's another thing.
Second leg. It's Andy to throw
A
first.
few players I work with
Game on.
that had issues, I always say just take a long stroll around to your water table, have a fiddle with your
78.
case, a sip of water, and then literally don't even think about walking towards the oche until they're sort of in between darts 2 and 3.
a lot of players, and I include myself in that, at times, once we take those
50.
darts out, sometimes we're not actually realising what we're doing. It takes a friend that's watching or a family member that's watching and going, say after the game, why did you run
41.
around like that? Or why did you do this? And it was like, oh, wow, didn't realise I did it.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with quick players. You can just find yourself almost walking around in circles, and it's all right for them because that's the tempo they want to be at. But if you're a player that normally isn't at that tempo,
100.
you can just sort of get engrossed in their game. And the same, if you're playing a slower player and you're stood behind, you end up watching what they're doing too much, and you lose focus on what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's something I was made very aware of after I was struggling to win
45.
first round games at Lakeside. And
Well, you went to see that sports
Yeah, I did,
psychologist, didn't you?
yeah, I had to work it out. It was something I was watching and I couldn't
45.
work out what I was doing. And
It's quite interesting. I've spoke to you because I'm fascinated by all of this, but you actually was counting your steps to the oche, wasn't it?
yeah, it was counting my steps, counting my numbers away from the oche. It was just taking my mind away from the game, really.
99.
So you didn't overthink
Yeah,
and
yeah.
overanalyze.
I concentrated on me, which is what the whole game is all about anyway. And if I do what I do,
95.
I can make it very difficult for that opponent. They've got to do something pretty special. And I'm still fascinated by it. I'm still fascinated when I watch other people, because I now know. I watch other players and go, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Why, you know? And it may be something that they've been taught to do
50.
that's totally the opposite
Andy,
to
you
what
require
works for me.
102.
And that's the love of this crazy game. I actually mentioned it on the...
Game shot on the
beautiful.
second leg. Andy
I
Davidson.
always say, Scott, if you can get a little percentage from this part, a little percent from that part, all those little
Third leg. It's
improvements
Derek to throw first.
add up to a really
Game
big
on.
jump in level and performance.
Absolutely, and I just think it is one of those things. It's about all on the day, and if you've got 20p in your back pocket, or
140.
you've got 20 grand in your back pocket, when you put your foot to the oche at darts, that makes no difference. It's one of the only
60.
sports that it makes no difference. Probably snooker, maybe. It's all about that moment, that game, how you hold your nerve in that particular moment. And some days we hold it and we look like heroes, and other days we fold like kittens.
43.
Well, sometimes we hold it and they just don't go between the wires. And that's where the element of good fortune can rear its
140.
ugly head.
Coulson here only needs one more leg, and he knows he's safe and through because he won his
58.
first game 4-1 against Jamie Owens, and he gets 2 here.
93.
He guarantees himself through.
$180.
That's not been a problem in his game so far.
100. Derek,
Nothing
you
more
require
annoying than a
80.
slow player that hits everything.
Yeah, I know. Dennis stood behind watching, I'm playing Dennis, and you're thinking, oh, God. Another 180, another 140, another 180.
For me, it was
26.
Dennis Arbour.
Yes.
So,
Derek,
yeah.
you require 108.
Must be something about the name Dennis.
92. Derek, you require 54.
Good attempt from Davidson there. Didn't quite go his way, so it's Coulson, 54 here, to put himself in the semi-final.
Ooh, 18
Got
double
18
18.
double 18.
It's on the
Confused
third
us
leg.
all.
Derek
That's why he went
Coulson.
that way, because he likes it.
Yep.
4th flag. It's Andy to throw first. Game on.
See, I'm not a player
60.
that worries about what I can do and what I can't do. I just go for the win. The whole time in this whole situation, I try to avoid that TV screen out there like the plague. But you will always get one in every group
140.
that comes around going, but if you do this and he does that and you do this, I say, if you don't be quiet in a minute, you and I are going to fall out because I don't want to know.
94.
The worst one for me, the first seniors event I had, and they got the monitor there, and it's got your average on it, and I was like, oh no. Like, I knew I wasn't playing very well, but then when you actually see it for yourself, and there's nowhere to hide. You just want the stage to swallow you up. But yeah, during a game, it's almost
85.
like you. And when you're playing well, you can just switch off and get into this zone-like feel.
No, that's the one thing. I've had that a couple of times in my darting life where you've looked across at the score. Could be an exhibition. I'd say World Seniors did it. Yeah, and you see your average as you're hitting 41 and you see it plummet another 6 points, and it just drives you insane.
105.
Yeah.
Derek, you require 161.
For 3-1 and a place in the semi-finals. James Boy asks, as professional dart players, do you have any swing thoughts for your
99.
throwing action, the way
Andy, you
golfers
require
do for their
157.
swing to keep everything in good working? Not really. There's the elements involved in a golf
133.
swing.
Derek,
They're
you
not
require
even comparable.
62.
More so a cueing action, because if you think of the backswing and the follow through, it's just the opposite of your throw-in darts, which is probably why snooker players make good
Game
dart
shot on
players.
the 4th flag. Derek Coulson.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, actually.
You tend to look at your throw more. You can't
5th
necessarily
flag.
feel
It's
it.
Derek to throw first.
The one
Game
beauty of especially things like this for players, the fact that they can analyse themselves and they can have a look at where they feel their throw may be breaking down, or if there's elements they can improve, that they've got access to it.
108.
I don't think you could underestimate, and I know this sounds really daft because every dart player has a big beer belly, but core strength
85.
is something that you need to stop your body moving while you're throwing, while the thrust of that arm goes through. You need a core strength to stop the top half of your body moving even an inch or an inch and a half, because that changes where the dart goes in the board on the muscle memory. It's a fascinating game if you go really
Deeper,
looking into it.
Well, it was like Phil. He was
97.
a bigger fella, but he was match fit. It's like some heavyweight boxers. You look at Tyson Fury. If you seen him walking down the street, you go, "There's no way he could fight for 36 minutes. He could fight for 56 minutes because he's big, but he's fit. It's like you on the farm. You know what I mean? There's not every bloke on this planet could do what you do in a day on that farm.
No, you're probably right, but it's just a strange thing. But it's something that I can see in future years, people going down the road of it more with hand speed, with arm speed. So I think that's a really good question, actually.
Well, that was the one element that impressed me so much about Luke Humphries and Ross Smith the same. They both went away and improved on exactly what you're saying, their core strength, their fitness, their balance.
75.
And ultimately paid dividends.
$35. Andy,
you require
133.
It's been a theme in Group 1
93.
for Derek, winning 4-1, and he's
40.
tops away from doing the double 4-1, double 10. He's left-handed, they love it.
20. Andy, you require 40. Game shot of fifth leg, Andy Davidson.
Someone says here loads of darts coaching videos
Sixth
on
leg,
YouTube
it's Andy to throw
on
first.
technique.
Game on.
And most of them say play loads and you'll find your own way. Yeah, I know. Look, I mean, I don't do any coaching per se. I work with literally absolute beginners and just
100.
lay down the fundamentals for them, and then just literally off you go. Get the
58.
get the basics down, and then just do it well.
Yeah, it's just getting the mechanics right initially, so that they're. I did the same with my kids. You know, I got out a broom and I put their hand on the. I was sawing off the broom. No matter what I do, you put your hand here, and this is what happens.
44.
This arm goes over the top of your elbow. That's where it goes. Now you work it out from here. You just get the biomechanics right,
That's
really.
it.
108.
Now with some of the pros that I work with, more so on if I can see just things creeping in or something that I can see, and only the
60.
ones I work with, of course. I wouldn't go up to someone I don't have any kind of relationship with, and
140.
it's usually ironed out very quickly. But elements or bad elements can creep into your game so quickly. It's like the wrist with Michael at Van Gerwen. I was picking up on that literally in its infancy.
100. Andy, you require 80.
Davidson here has 80, double 10 to go 3-3, and that looked very unlikely just about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Yeah. The only insurance Derek did have, of course, was knowing he
7 from final leg.
did have the darts in the decider.
First. Game on.
Because it is going to be a straight shootout, isn't it? Between, well, if Derek wins, it's just a straight shootout between Andy
48.
and Jamie.
If Andy wins this leg, then there is no way back for Jamie Owens. So he's going to be a big Derek Coulson fan in the back room here as we speak.
135. $140.
Ton, followed by a 140. He's giving Derek all the pressure he needs.
$134.
Jack asks, is there ever going to be a double-in, double-out tournament? Yes, I'm sure that's going to be introduced into one of the special weeks in a week or so's time. It will be our Double Trouble 2. Neil Duff won the first one.
140. $85. Derek, you require 44.
If you subscribe, Jack, you can have a look back at all of the old stuff as Derek Coulson eventually gets over the line. The 134 and the 140 to follow left him the 44, which he duly took out. So it is 2 wins from 2 for Derek Coulson. He is safely through, as we already knew. A high out of 102, an average of 88.22, backing up the 88.08 in match 1. When we come back, we return to Group 2 for Mark McGeeney against Jarno Bottenberg.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Derek Coulson completed a perfect pool stage, getting the better of Andy Davidson by 4 legs to 3. So it means that his game against Jamie Owens in match 6 will be a straight knockout to see who's into the semi-finals. Our 4th game of the evening session sees Jarno Bottenberg take to the stage for the first time this evening. He takes on Mark McGeeney. If Jarno wins this, then he is through. McGeeney will head for home. And early on this evening, I caught up with the Dutchman. Jarno, fair to say Group A didn't go to plan, but Group C was the exact opposite, 10 wins from 10.
Yeah, that's perfect. And Group A wasn't that good. Didn't play my best, but Group C still didn't play my best. But to tick all the 10 wins, it's good for the confidence. And
what changed in Group C compared to Group A?
yeah, I was thinking to myself, it's a new start, so start from 0 and see what happens. And if I play like I can, then I was thinking I can beat everybody. So
you must go into tonight because of those 10 wins, brimming with confidence, just knowing that you've got that ability to win games, and particularly in that Group C run, you won games in different manners, different ways.
Yes.
As in, for you won games differently, so it wasn't just all 4-0 or 4, that you had to sometimes work for wins.
Yeah, it was a few times 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. And so yeah, it wasn't that easy as it maybe looked, but I was happy to win all the games.
First time here at a finals night. we've seen you play in front of big crowds this year. How much are you looking forward to playing in front of an audience tonight?
Yeah, I always looking forward to play for the crowd, and let's hopefully show them some good darts, and so they can enjoy that night.
When you put the Dutch Open on the CV, the Super Series wouldn't be a bad one to add, would it?
Hopefully.
We wish you all the very best. Jarno, good luck.
Thank you.
And Jarno Bottenberg is in action against Mark McGeeney, who lost out in the last leg decided against Boris Koltsov despite opening up a 3-1 lead in that contest. If he loses this one to Jarno, he is out. Bottenberg and Boris would be through. In comms, Scott Mitchell and Chris Mason.
Thank you, Henry. And well, Scott picked up on it straight away of the advantage of having played a game, which Derek did, and Derek won his opening match. And Andy Davidson was coming in a little bit cold, and he went behind, almost battled back. Now the same will be for this young man, Jarno Bottenberg. And Mark McGeeney was very, very good and very unfortunate to lose in the end. Averaged 95.14, which is higher than anything that Jarno has produced this week.
That's all stats on paper, though, Mace, isn't it? And we know we don't play darts on paper.
Well, we do, sort of.
Game on.
Wasn't your first dartboard a cardboard one, or?
Yeah, to be fair, it probably was actually an MY, probably from Walworth's own brand.
100.
As we said at the top of the show, we know that Jarno has
96.
the potential. You don't go winning Dutch Opens for...
Not at 22 years of age.
No, it's just super stuff. I think I made the semi-finals
85.
once in about 15 attempts, I think.
Yeah, quarterfinals is the closest I ever got.
The ironic thing for me was I was still in the pairs at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just played a pairs semi-final, came off, then had to go back on and play a singles semi-final, then came off and had to go and play the pairs final. It was
59.
brutal. I think they've stopped all that silliness now. They're very good at sorting things out like that, the NDB.
I mean, I'm not sure it was the same when you played, but we used to have a VIP area. So we had our own practice boards, and then we were taken to our TV lane to play. But just as a normal competitor without those
60.
advantages, it must be brutal.
Jarno, you
'cause
require
the peeper there is
85.
just madness.
Well, back when I first went, yes, I didn't have that. The VIP was still there.
45.
And I made the last 128. That's how many there were there. There were just under 5,000 in the singles. On the first day, I made the last 128 and got invited into the VIP because I was in the 128.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I was ever out of it after that.
137. Jarno, you require 40.
If you're a darts fan, it's a highly recommended trip.
Game shot of first leg, Jarno Bottenberg.
It's very much a carnival type weekend, isn't it? It's just they have loads of different types
Second
of
leg,
entertainment
it's Jarno
on,
to throw first.
and you're
Game on.
And obviously some of the Dutch create their own entertainment as well while they're in the beer tent. I remember seeing some
57.
marvellous bin diving. You proper wheelie bin up on its lid at 45 degrees, and you have a 5-yard run up. You dive in head first. It slides up the dance floor, and then they put a mark on the floor, so who's gone the furthest.
108.
McGeeney. It's back with a max. I remember doing my first tournament. It wasn't the Dutch Open, it was another tournament in Holland, and they have the carts with the barrels and the little remote cooler on. And they just literally, you'll be sort of by your board, and they'll just come round with one, and you just buy them up. It's mad.
85.
No queuing at the bar.
No, it's great stuff.
60. $58. 123.
I think that clench of fist there and a little punch Shows what Jarno feels of that visit. McGeeney had just started to turn the throw on him after losing his own throw in the first leg, and that was a massive visit, that 1, 2, 3.
Jarno, you require
Hence the reaction.
127.
Treble 20. 17 and ball. The treble's a bonus, double 8.
Wow. On a second leg, Jarno Bottenberg.
14, followed by a 15.
Third leg, it's Mark to throw first.
What could go wrong for Mark is going wrong. Who would be your dream pairs partner?
Yeah, good question.
60.
Daisy Duke.
180.
It's mixed pairs then.
yeah, sorry, I didn't know which one you meant. No, I think you'd want to play with one of the greats, wouldn't you, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate. I played pairs with Eric for years, so I sort of had mine, and also played pairs with a
96.
good mutual friend of ours, Dave Jenner. Got to the final of the British Open pairs with Dave. I don't know how. Oh, I do. I didn't drink with him.
Yeah, that'll be the idea. I think sometimes I've been fortunate to win the Dutch Open pairs on 3 occasions. I think sometimes
76.
when you put 2 really good players together, it doesn't always work. I think I won it with Richie George. I've won it with
58.
Martin C. Atkins from Yorkshire, and I've won it with James Hurrell.
Wow.
Yeah, I think sometimes and I played with Scott Waits, and we've never got by the last 16 twice.
You'd think that would be the key pair. And yeah, I did the final one year with
167.
Dave Jenner, and then the year before I got to the final with George Turnbull.
127.
Just couldn't win it.
Mark, you require
I made the semis once or twice as well. I made the semis in 2020 with Gary Stafford from Hampshire.
Yeah, no, Gary.
$80. Jarno, you require 40.
But if you ask me nowadays, I'd like the idea of playing with Gessie or Gary Anderson. I probably wouldn't play very well because I'd just be loaded with pressure.
Fourth flag, it's Jarno to throw first. Game on.
So Bottenberg goes 3-0 up with a second breaker throw on McGeeney, and
42.
Like you say, everything that was going his way in the first one has gone against him in this one.
Here's an interesting
95.
one. Marcus says, having aimed, is there a second sighting position just before release, i.e. Ross Montgomery touches his
58.
nose, the flight, Shane Burgess rubs his cheek, well, it's nice, his eyebrow. Obviously extreme cases. Well, the thing is, not all players are aimers. Some are throwers, some are aimers, some are in the middle.
140.
I think it's not really like an aim, it's almost sighting, isn't it? Or just getting in position. Because ultimately, if you tried to sight it, you wouldn't see a lot apart from your hand and possibly the flight or the dart itself. So, yeah, I wouldn't get too bogged down with worrying about things like that. Here's another good question. Andy
96.
McLaren. Evening, Chris and Scott. What change do you think the PDC need to bring in to protect players ranked above 64? And is it possible to earn a living full-time if you were in that category? No, not with all the expenses involved, and it costs a fortune to do. I know there's no more entry fees, but the amount of travelling, hotels, food,
98.
time off work. I have an opinion on it that once you've earned that card, you're not in an open tournament. You've qualified to be in the round of 128. There should be prize money. It's not like we've entered, say, I'm playing in a tournament uptown on Monday. I don't expect any money first round because it's an open tournament. But by earning and paying for your card, that guarantees you your place in round one of a tournament consisting of 128 players.
Yeah, I can see that point of view. Yeah, I understand that.
Or they, quite simply, which is something I've been suggesting for a couple of years now, you allow players
100.
If in that position, 60, well, maybe, I don't know, 65 to 128, they wouldn't have it, but the opportunity to play here to try and subsidise their earning potential and also gain valuable experience which will hold them in good stead going forward as a PDC player.
Yeah, we know this place is proven, but then does that stop the conveyor belt by stopping other players being here? That
yeah, well, it's one of those. It's tough.
McGeeney's just got his first leg on the board with the breaker throw and 14 darter. That seems to have lit the touch paper for him. He's gone ton 140, probably going to go 180 here, and that's exactly what he's done. He's now back in this game.
Yeah, this has been a brilliant reaction from McGeeney.
Require 81.
Like in his first match, although he didn't finish with a 100+ average for the vast majority of it, he was well over the ton. He's over 102 at the moment, close to 103.
49. $38.
So no real pressure on this for McGeeney, and he'll be relieved it's that way. And closes the gap to 1.
Mark McGeeney.
Who is the best player you ever saw who never broke through to televised tournaments?
6th flag. It's Jarno to throw first. Game on.
There was a few in and around the Bristol area. George Turnbull, Mike Jeffries, Johnny Leavis, Stuart Bennett, Jeff Williams. They were all absolutely outstanding players, but a lot of the time had young families or didn't have the finances to travel to get ranking points to ultimately get their breakthrough.
57.
Yeah, circumstances away from the board are a massive thing to whether you're able to do what these guys are doing.
And I think that's why we're seeing, and you made a great point with regard to Derek Coulson. I think that's why in the seniors we're seeing players that
95.
I've never heard before. I think, where have you been? And they say, well, we just didn't have the money. I had a young family. I had a full-time job. Couldn't get time off work. Didn't have the extra income to... Because, you know, it used to cost a fortune to go on the... Especially the early stage of the BDO circuit. You've been Sweden, Denmark, Finland, America, Canada, all over 95. The UK, Belgium, Holland, Germany. It was... I remember Shane Burgess having to go to Australia because it was the final ranking tournament in the season just to guarantee his place at Lakeside.
It's crazy mad. Well, Bottenberg there has just hit a lovely... Well, he's had a leg, 139, 57, 132, 133. This is for a 13 darter and to win the game. And what a 13 darter that is for him. McGeeney has walked into a couple there. Happy Jarno Bottenberg there. Look at McGeeney. He's played with a 95 tonight and a 98.30 and has yet to win a game. And his night is over. But Jarno Bottenberg, 4-2, did all he needed to. 4 from 6 on the doubles. Highest checkout of 127. You've got time to put the kettle on as we head for a short break. And we'll be back with Andy Davidson taking on Jamie Owens.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Jarno Bottenberg got the better of Mark McGeeney by 4 legs to 2. 4 games down, and we know 3 of the 4 semi-finalists now. Coulson through Group 1 with 2 wins and 2. Boris Koltsov and Jarno Bottenberg both through because they've both beaten Mark McGeeney. So only one more name to find out in terms of our semi-finals, and we'll know that player at the end of this game as Andy Davidson takes on Jamie Owens. Both losing out to Derek Coulson. Owens 4-1, Davidson 4-3. But who is going to win Game 5? Scott Mitchell and Chris Mason are in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yep, nothing complicated about this one. Just a straight shootout. Got a feel for Mark McGeeney. He's been the standout player tonight, hasn't he? In terms of level of performance, but it's not meant to be if your name's not on pot, lad. And it certainly wasn't there for Mark McGeeney, but what he can take away from it is the fact that he can still play to a seriously high level. On any other night, he may well have not only just qualified for the semis, but
59.
gone on to win it.
It's the nature of the short format, isn't it? It's the nature of the short format.
Yeah, you don't really get enough time to sort of sometimes wrestle your way back in. There's no wiggle room.
Yeah, no, wrestle your way back in. Rest on the laurels that you've made to get in front. There's no time for nothing. One leg
45.
just turns a game on its head here.
Yeah, it's like this one. I mean, I think county darts years ago was best of 5, and most league darts you play was 1 leg. West Midlands, 59. It was 1 leg of 301 in one of the leagues.
Yeah, somebody came to you and said they wanted to play you for best of 9. You thought your arm was going to fall off. Nobody was ever doing that.
But now a best of 7 is considered very much a sprint, a 60-yard dash. Evening, Chris and Scott. Which 8 players should be in the Premier League?
82.
I presume you mean next year. Well, as it stands right now, my picks would be the 2 Lukes, MVG, Cross, Aspinall, Anderson, Price and Dobie.
140.
But that's, like I said, that's just who I'd like to watch. Well, I want to see it go to 12. Go back to 6 games a night. So you just play once. You have a home and away fixture. After 12 weeks, the
81.
bottom 4 are binned off. The top 8 go back to the format that they're currently using now, where it's knockout for the next 4 weeks, and then the top 4 make the semi-finals.
Yeah, sounds like a plan for me. I don't think I would have any other different 8 if that was the case. I think
120.
They're the guys that are doing it right now. Well, who's going to be doing it in 2 months' time, and who's going to have won the World Championship?
Exactly. It's a long way off, but as it stands right now, that's the 8
75.
I would like to see.
Jamie requires 62.
Owens here has been having no luck whatsoever. A couple of bounce outs, a couple of drifty ones. These are big moments to break the throw.
46.
Didn't quite happen for him this time round.
Do you think that's... Well, I think it's twofold. Level of expectation.
On the first leg, Andy Davidson.
And maybe just trying to
Second leg
force the issue, and of course the
first.
lack of experience.
Game on.
A little bit of that, or trying to make sure, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't you love it back in the day? And you know, you'd be going for a double to win a county match, and somebody would go out in the crowd, "Make sure!" Whoa, you don't want to hear that.
What do you think I'm trying to do?
Oh, I'm trying to miss it, so I can go. Oh, just terrible. Make sure. I hate that call.
Yeah. You might as well say don't miss.
58.
And you're already telling yourself that already.
93.
I'm saying with the Grand Prix coming up, what are the chances it ever goes back to Dublin? None. At the moment, there isn't an alternative venue that's the right kind
59.
of size that they need. Like I keep saying, there's more to Ireland than Dublin. Take it to Belfast. There's
58.
loads of brilliant venues there.
Yeah, we played a Six Nations, a couple of Six Nations in Belfast. There's some great places to play there.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
55.
Someone asking, how did Bottenberg play? Okay.
91.
1-4-2 against Mark
97.
McGeeney.
Jamie
Averaged
require
95.57, his highest numbers of the week by a couple of points. Well,
120.
that would have
Andy, you require
given him a
98.
lift and a well-needed boost of confidence.
Game
Ouch.
shot on a second
He
leg.
is so
Andy
good at those
Davidson.
little two-dart clutch finishes.
Third leg, it's Andy to throw
He
first.
wasn't a million miles away
Game
from the
on.
160 himself. And yeah, that hurts.
100.
Because it's one of those darts, you know, that 98, where that second dart, once you've hit the 60, you can get a go at the double 19 a little bit half-heartedly
140.
rather than
Yes.
having to go straight at it and make a mess of it and carry a dart.
Yeah, because you don't want
No.
to burn a dart, do you?
No.
So you like to say, you
58.
approach it with a little bit of hesitation. Do you think a competition along the same lines as the old British pentathlon would raise any interest these days? No, British pentathlon
60.
is still going, and it's. I was going to say wonderful to play in, but
97.
it's absolutely horrific. But great fun. But no, as a TV spectacle, no, it wouldn't work because nowadays, listen, the PDC do every type
57.
of research and analytic research, and they've added science to it all. And if anything
96.
would work, they would have done it by now.
I think actually Connor Scott won it this year, I believe.
Did he? Martin Adams has won it a ridiculous amount of times, as has John Lowe.
100. Andy,
I
you
was
require
runner-up once to
150.
Martin Adams.
Runner-up.
Yeah. Yeah, makes you sick, doesn't he? Keep winning everything.
75.
Top
Jamie, you
man. We've
require
seen him here many
144.
occasions. Still throwing tidily at the ripe old age of, I think he's 64 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to be.
44. Andy, you require 75.
No, Jamie didn't play football today. He's out injured.
35.
Well, this time's
Jamie,
got to
you
go.
require
Without stating the
100.
obvious. Oh, another one of those. Oh, you beauty.
Shot on a third leg. Jamie Owens.
Should have more PDC tournaments in Scotland. I agree. I've
Fourth
been
leg.
campaigning
It's
for
Jamie
that
to
for
throw first.
plenty of
Game
time.
on.
Nice finish there from Jamie Owens. Is that going to give him a lift? He seems to have
59.
a slight problem here with that dart being just a little bit under the treble 20, and then he's not exactly
60.
a big tall player to be able to go over the top
No.
and past it.
Nope. And there it is again. And it's so plumb in the middle,
96.
you can't even work around it.
81. $140.
Adam asks, hi Chris and Scott, do you think the Pro Tour should move to different locations? Birmingham used to have one.
95.
Also, what about crowds? No, it's fine the way it is. No, there's so much at stake
134.
that some balloon shouting something out at an inappropriate time could cost someone a place in a
61.
World
Jamie
Championship, for
requires
example.
72.
When is the Influencers event? Don't know. Not a clue, I'm afraid. It will be on the Modus Super Series
32.
social media platforms, though. Take a look.
140.
So
Jamie,
Owens wants
require
tops here to
40.
level this up. A nice 140 there from Davidson to put a little pressure on the shot. He hit 2 in the previous leg for that lovely ton finish with tops. Off the double 10.
20.
Mad, isn't it?
Andy, you require
Just hit 2 of them.
64.
with 2 in hand, 3 in hand, can't find tops.
Game shot on a full flag.
Again,
Andy
Scott,
Davidson.
clutch finishing.
Clutch finishing. Ouch, ouch,
Fifth
ouch.
flag. It's
Not
Andy to
any
throw
other
first.
thought in Davidson's mind
on.
other than taking a dart to the board with him and getting it in 2.
100.
Hi, Chris and Scott. Would you like to see a women's Grand Slam? How would that work?
140.
Has the Grand Slam lost a bit of magic? Yeah, I think so, because that was what was originally created for, to have the cross-code
99.
event. It just added a bit of spice to it. I can assure it was all friendly between the players. They used to try and make out it wasn't, but
140.
it was very amicable. But it just added a bit of good banter in the practice room.
Yeah, they were good events to play in. I
140.
remember qualified for 3 of those, and yeah, really good times.
Yeah, I won the qualifier for the very first one.
You
And
require 122.
put in a lovely group of Adrian Lewis, Dennis Priestley and Raymond Barneveld. Lovely. Thanks for that. Oh,
97.
good effort. That was to stay in
you
it.
require 24.
So it's looking like Davidson is going to
Game
take his
shot
place
and the match,
in
Andy
the
Davidson.
semi-final alongside Derek Coulson. And it is a disappointing end for what's been a fabulous week for debutant Jamie Owens, but I'm sure we will see him back, and good luck with his recovery from his foot injury, and good luck with his career going forward. I certainly would like to see him down here again. There's the numbers. Andy Davidson, very tidy, 29 per dart in the old county way of looking at things, 87. Jamie Owens, 85, 86, which is pretty much where he's been for the entire week. When we come back, Jarno Bottenberg against fellow qualifier for the semi-finals, Boris Koltsov.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already. Itching to hit the 180. He's gone for the maximum.
Team for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape.
Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Get match darts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is. Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie face is through. He gets
And he's
there.
absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that Pie face dominated throughout.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. So before the break, Andy Davidson completed our semi-final lineup, getting the better of Jamie Owens by 4 legs to 1. So it means the final group match between Jarno Bottenberg and Boris Koltsov is a game where both players are jostling for position, both into the semi-finals. The winner will top Group 2 and have the advantage of throw in the second semi-final. In commentary, Scott Mitchell and Chris Mason.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, they're playing for position.
First leg, it's
as you
Jarno to
rightly
throw
said,
first. Game on.
The winner will play Andy Davidson. The loser will play Derek Coulson.
58.
And trust me, at this stage, any idea of thinking, oh, well, I don't really want to play him, I'd rather play him, you just don't want to lose a game. You want to keep that winning mentality and winning momentum.
Yeah, definitely, and you want to make sure you got the darts no matter who you're playing, and that's the winner of this.
And you may well be playing the guy in the final, so you want to make sure you get one up on him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That happens 95. Quite often here, doesn't it? That situation.
Yes.
But for me, it's going to be a tight game. Koltsov has had a 96 average in his one game this evening, and Bottenberg's had a 95.57. So it really is width of a Rizzler.
Yeah.
59.
Bit of a coin flip. And that was that performance from Jarno was special because he had to play that well, because Mark McGeeney was playing at a seriously high level, losing with a 98 plus average. And that shows me that those gears I wanted to see from him, they are in the locker.
60. Boris, you require 107. 30. Jarno, you require 130.
Boris made a bit of a pig's ear of that. Ball.
Game shot of first leg, Jarno Bottenberg.
And continuing where he left off. He did
Second
have
leg, it's Boris to throw
1-2-7.
Game on.
In fact, every match we've had so far tonight has had a ton plus finish in it, including
100.
The highest of them all in our opening game. Derek Coulson slotting in our 100th 170.
105.
Roberto. Oh, Neil Duff, he's here. He's keen. Hi, Chris and Scott. Do you think women's prize money should go up? Nope.
100.
It's all relative. It's a bit like saying, well, why don't women's footballers earn the same as male footballers? Because they don't generate the same amount of money.
140.
That's just life. Why do female models earn more money than male models? Because they're into more demand and they
81.
generate more money commercially. In fact,
96.
the women's footballers took more of a percentage of the pot of money available than their male counterparts in World Cups.
50.
I know, I've won a World Cup and a Europe Cup, and I didn't get a percentage of nothing.
15, but everybody gets 15 quid.
140.
Our former England managers won I don't know how many World Cups, how many Europe Cups, and he hasn't even got a knighthood.
Yep, yeah, you're right.
134. Jarno, you require 20.
Although it still remains my proudest moment, pulling on that
Boris,
shirt.
you require 36.
It was, yeah, it's just something I will never forget.
Jarno's second leg, Boris Koltsov.
Koltsov levels up at 1-1. I'll have to say,
Third leg,
putting on an England shirt is the most amazing thing I've ever done, above winning a world championship for me. And I was very fortunate enough to pick up the World Cup as England captain as well. Wow.
That's like the ultimate, isn't it?
I had, at one point, I had the Europe Cup trophy, the World Cup trophy, and the World Championship trophy in my house.
Wow.
And I never took one picture because I thought it was an everyday occurrence. When they're all gone now, and I look back and go, what was I doing?
Yeah.
100.
Why didn't I take a picture of that?
Oh,
140.
Nearly the ultimate reply.
Yeah, it's ramping up now, isn't it? The pace of the game is now
Well,
it's pace. They've done the touchy-feely bit for the first couple of legs, and now we're away playing a real good pace here that both are enjoying.
Yep, suits them both.
65.
Lovely rhythm.
Boris, you require 81.
For another ball finish.
On a third leg.
In
Boris
it goes.
Koltsov.
You can have one back, Jarno. Is what Boris
Fourth
is
leg,
saying.
it's Boris to throw first.
And there is that element
Game
where they can play with a bit of freedom. They both know the main objective
45.
of these two group matches was to qualify for the semi-finals, and that's done.
Yeah, it does change things a little
134.
bit. You know, to play with that element of freedom. There's no two ways about it. There's an element of relaxed and.
Well, that's the beauty when you're right at the sort of somewhere near the top of your game and you're doing exhibitions. That's why, you know, you hear of just remarkable things happening. You know, you get sort of the early matches out of the way and you're in full flow, and you do produce some mind-blowing stuff.
You learn pretty early not to try and go double first or second game. You just get the first ones out of the way.
Yeah.
Get yourself a little momentum and then.
Is Neil Duff in Group A? I do believe so.
101.
So all that information will be coming up shortly.
65. Jarno, you require 170.
Ooh, not going to get another. Well, not in this turn. Can Boris give us our
96.
101st
Boris, you require
170 out?
170.
Top wire. Another one of those would be handy. Leaves double 18.
134. Jarno, you require 74.
Double 18 is favourite.
38. Boris, you require 36.
Not to be on this time. Is it going to be Boris's favourite? Yes, it is.
Well, the average is
Fifth
right
flag,
now.
it's Jarno to throw first.
92.6, and he's 3-1 behind. Boris, 98.
83.
Like I say, it's been a good game. Nice on the eye.
Yes.
140.
Pleasing to watch, isn't it? You could watch a best of 19 very comfortably at this pace.
83.
Always feels like there's something happening. So second max for Boris. I would like to see Adrian Lewis back in darts. It's been a minute. Yeah.
123.
His arrival at the Modus Super Series will be next year, of course.
85.
Why put Littler in the thumbnail if he's not in the
100.
tournament?
Yep.
Shocking
Boris, you
false
require
advertising,
96.
Modus. Stop it. Because it's to qualify for Champions Week, and he was a former Champions Week winner.
36. Jarno, you require 112.
I presume that's the idea.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
I don't have anything to do with the socials.
92. Boris, you require 60.
So 60 for Koltsov here to win the match.
Game shot.
And that's
the match,
exactly what he's
Boris
done.
Koltsov.
So he now tops Group 2. This little match that to finish off the group stages. Bottenberg again, very good with a 93.32. Probably the one from 6 is what's harmed him there. But it's Koltsov, 99.78, just shy of the ton. 4 out of 4 on his doubles. He heads through to semi-final number 2 and ends up group winner. We're going to head to a short break. And when we come back on the other side, we will have your semi-finals.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. What a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
But what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree. Only needs the one.
Shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
Shot on the third leg.
Is that the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Josh Smith, is it a 9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot.
He gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total agreement because
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just like
Darius
that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. And there you can see
that she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him, and is. It was a great dive.
Shot on the first leg, Andreas Harrison.
It's a breaker throw for Andreas Harrison.
Shot on the second leg, Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw, double 16 is found.
And he does lead. It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we have completed the group stage worth of action here in week 12 finals night. The 2015 World Champion Scott Mitchell's been watching every single dart in the commentary box alongside Chris Mason. This is what we have seen this evening. Both the pools have come to a culmination, and it has seen Derek Coulson dominate Group 1. Andy Davidson won the deciding match against Jamie Owens, whilst Mark McGeeney had averages of 95 and 98 and couldn't win a game. He was eliminated, whilst Boris Koltsov and Jarno Bottenberg made it through. So the semi-finals are now set in stone. Scott's alongside. Let's begin with Derek Coulson, because he was the first player to qualify through in Group 1. He's a player that's got such a big reputation for the World Seniors Tour. And as the week's gone along, he's seemingly getting better and better.
Yeah, he's won one of the seniors events, and he's one of those underestimated players, estimated type players who goes under the radar a little bit. He's got levels higher than what he's shown tonight, but I think tonight he's been here before. He knows a little bit more about it this time. I think he's just gone through the motions of doing what he needs to do to make the semi-finals. Now we're playing a little bit of straight knockout. Maybe we're going to see a different Derek Coulson.
This 170 was quite nice. This was the 100th at the Super Series.
Yeah, magic stuff as well. Just double checking it was there. Jamie Owens knew it was there, and he knew that was there too.
So Derek Coulson into the semi-finals in his first finals night here at the Live Lounge. As far as Group 2 is concerned, Mark McGeeney, we mentioned, played so well, didn't qualify. Let's talk about some of the performances from the other players, and begin with Boris Koltsov, who is seemingly the type of player that comes here to the Super Series, plays at this real consistently high level and could really go under the radar.
Yeah, very much so he could go under the radar. But I think for me, like Mason and I said at the top of the show, he's here to try and prove a little bit of a point, just to remind people that he's still out there. We can still see he's doing the numbers. You know, it's very consistent numbers that he's doing, and he will feel a little bit rusty being here. You know, he's not been doing lots and lots of competitions of late. And so I think it's been a very impressive performance from him so far.
And in terms of Jarno Bottenberg, another player who lost with an average high in the 90s in that last game against Boris.
Yeah, very much so. He's playing with an absolute confidence, isn't he? He's looking good. He knows that now he's through the group stages. This is now knockout, and he looks pretty good for the semi-finals.
So Jarno Bottenberg into the semi-finals. The other player is Andy Davidson, who was the favourite at the beginning of the night. Didn't play his best in Group B, but are there signs that he's just beginning to come up to the boil now?
I think as a player, we all know that there are certain points where, yeah, you haven't played your best, but you've got to grind your way through to win tournaments. When you win tournaments, you don't always play your very best games all the way through. There's always one that you scrape through, and then you start to think your name is on it. He may be starting to think his name's on it again tonight because he hasn't played his best, but he has come back from losing position. So if he gets in front, I think you just watch him because he just goes.
Well, that sets up our semi-finals, which you can have a look at now. A really intriguing set of semis ahead of us this evening. We're going to kick off with Derek Coulson up against Jarno Bottenberg, followed by Boris Koltsov and Andy Davidson. Actually, it's quite a weird dynamic because you've got the two players from Group C and the two players from Group B going head-to-head in the semis.
Yeah, very much so, and that can quite often happen. Mace touched on it earlier in commentary that, yeah, there might have been nothing on that game and it was all about who went through and got the darts in the semi-final. But we forget that they've got to get one over on one another. They've been playing each other all week, and that just goes to prove exactly what Mace said was right.
See, Chris Mason doesn't get it wrong, does he? Maybe the odd one, but by and large, he gets it right, doesn't he? Right, this week we had a bit of a milestone here at the Live Lounge. 10,000 matches at the Modus Super Series. Well, it was a game on Tuesday, and it was just another game of darts. But it was a historic moment here for us at the Live Lounge. For you, any moments over the last couple of years that have stood out in particular?
I think probably, the finals nights, there's been big moments. There's been, the Andreas Harrison wins. They've been really cool, haven't they? Luke Littler obviously springs to mind and having gone on to do what he's done. So there are magic moments here. There are many moments for individuals that have played here that mean the world to them when they go away. So it's not always just about the moments that the people are watching see. Sometimes it's about the moments that it's created for players to go on from here and get tour cards, and it all started here.
You're still very much active on the circuit. What's the talk in inner playing circles about this competition? How highly now is it on the radar of players?
Well, I think everybody's watching it. I think people are watching it. It's nice and easy to watch being on YouTube, and I think if you're a certain type of player, you want to watch who's coming up. You want to watch who's going to be the next one that's going to be, your opponent, your next person on your tour, and they're all coming from here. Mm-hmm. So, or they're all going through here at some point within the game. So, you don't want to, as a top player, your job is to make sure you don't get caught out by anybody that you don't know. And the one thing for me is I love being here and watching all these guys because then I don't get caught out by them when they do drop onto the Challenge Tour or wherever I am. So I think a lot of players are watching it for that. And it's just, some people just love watching darts and we just provide it.
And do you know what the biggest pleasure is? I get to enjoy watching live sport with my mate, and that's really good fun. Well, we'll speak to you again a little bit later on, Scott, but as you mentioned, 10,000 games have been completed here at the Super Series. Some landmark moments, some historic moments over the last couple of years. So let's take a little trip back down memory lane. Balancheric wants treble 19 and now double 12 to become the first ever female player to hit a televised 9-star finish.
Gonna get better than that too. A double 14.
Super Series champion,
The leading light the Super Series. It's sweet success for the 16-year-old.
shot, and the Modus Super Series Week 9 champion, Bo Greaves!
It's history for Bo Greaves. Double 12. Yes! Get in there, Lee Cox. What a way to win a game.
Goodness gracious me! Back-to-back 9 darters.
Double 16. It's destructive. It's
Darryl
Daryl Pilgrim with a record average here at the Modus Super Series of 122.69.
He's going to go ball. Oh my
Game
goodness.
shot and the match, Jericho.
Retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler!
And trust me, this place has changed over the last couple of years. But one thing stays the same, the race to Champions Week intensifying ahead of the big jackpot. And we've got now just 3 more qualification matches until the next one begins Monday morning at 9:30. Derek Coulson against Jarno Bottenberg, followed by Boris Koltsov and Andy Davidson are our 2 semis. Bottenberg and Coulson on the stage, ready to go. And also ready to go in the commentary box is Chris Mason and Scott Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, really looking forward to this. It was a wonderful standard in the group games, a ton-plus finish in every one of the matches played. Averages of, well, very nearly a ton, 99.78 for Boris, and 95s, 95.14, 96, 98, 93. And you have to feel, I just popped down and had a word with Mark McGeeney and just sort of just sympathised with him really, and he's actually he was quite pleased with how he's played. Obviously, massively disappointed not to progress, but he's a level-headed man, and he will take the best bits of his campaign and apply them going forward. That's all he can do.
Yeah, I recall a night I was there on finals night in commentary, and Josh Brooks of Lancashire did 2 ton pluses and went out without a win.
Yes.
In the group stages, it can be brutal here.
82. Yeah, it's savage. It's just so unforgiving. And having been a tour card holder, it's even more savage at the level that you were playing at. As 96. You well know, the Pro Tours are just brutal, aren't they?
Super brilliant. You get dragged along with them when you're in the Pro Tours. Your concentration levels become better. You don't throw a dart unless you know you're actually giving every single dart a chance. There's none of these just lobbing them and hoping. It's just you need to know. It's
well, everything's heightened, isn't it? Everything.
Yeah, from a mistake to a win.
Yeah.
Everything is. It feels 56. Higher.
Yep, 3 more matches to go. The 2 semi-finals, and then there will be a short interval, around about 10 minutes, just to give the player playing second time to maybe have a comfort break and just sit down for 5 minutes to gather their thoughts, and then we'll be straight into the final. And then we will know all 12 players that will be entertaining you next week for Champions Week. The 11 that we know so far. Week 1 of Series 8 went to Tom Sykes, and a good friend of ours and a fine player as well. Jim Long, 1 week 2. Eric, Richard Rowlands, 1 week 3. I was chuffed to see him do that. Jimmy Van Schie, then Neil Duff, who's in the crowd this evening. Just had to pull us apart. Paul Hogan, Adam Paxton, week 8. Connor Scott, Thomas Banks, week 9. You were in week 9. Marvin Van Velzen, week 10. And that incredible story of Steve West 30. Winning week 11.
126.
Who will be the 12th man?
I think I'm back doing a bit end of next week as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
Eric, you require 10.
With that lineup and clientele.
Oh, it can't fail to be good.
Game shot on the first leg, Derek Coulson.
He had a lot more to do with that than you could see as darts don't
second leg
sit up. They're quite neutral, aren't they? Quite flat. So you have to make sure the dart is going through the air cleanly so it doesn't get 96. Any kind of deflection.
Yeah, that 5-5 is always awkward, and I always feel with 3 in your hand, you really got to go at it with everything, so that you've still got 2 in your hand to sort of tidy up or whatever. It's one of those. And when he went just above 100. It, which I would advise you if you've got 3 darts in your hand on double top to go above it with the first one. But doubles like double 5, double 19, those double 13s or whatever you can leave and have 3 darts in your hand. It's far better to go sort of hell for leather at it with the first one and not hit a big number with the second and have 1 dart in your hand. You can do nothing with it.
Yeah, totally agree. Any of the doubles that don't break down, like I say, there's only 2 doubles I advise, the 1 up, 1 in. It's tops and 1s.
58.
I
think that saying must translate everywhere. 1 up, 1 in.
Yeah, you can hear the shouts in the pub, can't you? I keep telling myself, no guts, no glory.
85.
Yeah, that saying suits our sport perfectly.
I think you summed it up. I was watching one
40.
of your commentaries. I can't remember where it was, and you said it's a game of opportunity that rips your heart in two.
Yeah.
100. Jarno, you require 167.
Coulson has turned the throw here. And Bottenberg really needed something there.
Yeah, needed at least 1 big treble to
50.
To leave a 2-dart combination. So treble 20, double 8. May go 20. Oh, only left double 18 last time.
36.
Well, it moves
Jarno,
the
you
wire.
require 117.
Well, every match is at a ton plus. Odds are, ooh.
No, not this time around. That's 76, you know.
In
a bit of a situation like that, sometimes I go treble 16.
Yes, I've actually been seeing a lot of that lately. And another shot which I see, which is now becoming on trend, is the 62, 54 double 4.
Yeah, that's one again I've always done.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. It's the same weight of dart, isn't it?
Yeah, I had years of doing that at Lakeside. I saw Gary Thompson do it, and it just made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
140.
A fair few players on 70 going 42-28.
96.
It's fascinating how the game has moved on. And that's one fascinating element of Luke Littler, that he's constantly aware on the second visit to the board to make sure he can leave something that could be completed in 6.
Yeah, something I've spoken to Dutch commentator Marco Mayer. It's something that the Dutch have been doing for many, many years. And now sort of spreading through. And Coulson here with the 180 is really starting to take charge of this first semi-final.
Well, he's just controlled it pretty much from the off.
96. Derek, you require 82.
Bottenberg, you have to say, looked a little bit of a lost soul there going to the board.
He did. Well, I'd gamble here. Or would I? I don't want to hit the 57 really, because I don't want to leave double 11. And he's got to make a decision. Well, I think that
42.
has worked out better. I think it was either the gamble for the 39 to leave the tops.
I think leaving the tops puts something in Jarno's head to stop him hitting a 180 back at you. If he'd have gone treble 15 route there, which he could have done, he still probably couldn't have left 3 darts at a double. Surely he's going to use those 2.
No score.
Right across the
Jarno,
bed.
you require 86.
Now, how important is that 140 from Bottenberg on his last visit? Should get one at the ball.
Is going to get one at the ball. And
Yeah,
hits
he's
the
on the
ball.
third leg, Jarno Bottenberg.
Well, how much of that indecision has given
Fourth flag, it's Jarno to throw first.
the opportunity to get
Game
himself right back in the match with a hold of throw?
$123.
Now it's Bottenberg throwing with freedom.
180.
It's a second for Derek.
58.
His 5th of the night.
$140.
That's very nice from Coulson there. 180, 140.
Just kills the leg, doesn't it? Those kind of visits.
64.
Just had your throw broken. And that's saying, I'm not going anywhere, young'un.
$100.
81, 40, 100 here for Coulson. 81 after 9.
76. Derek, you require 81.
Did that little fist pump for Jarno Bottenberg. Give Coulson the G up.
$49.
So 32 he leaves on this occasion. Jarno will be looking 140 here. Needs a treble with that
60.
last one.
Derek, you require 32. Game shot
No
on the
mistake
flag.
this time.
Derek Coulson.
Nails the double 16. A 13 darter.
5th flag. It's
Breaks
Derek
the throw
to throw
straight
first.
back. Just Coulson there. Jarno thought he got himself back in the game, and we all know the saying, break isn't a break until you hold.
85.
And that's all Derek needs to do to make it through to the final, where he'll face one of
57.
Boris Koltsov or Andy Davidson, which would be following after this one.
$100. 42.
Trying to just wake himself up a bit.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've got to be honest, I've seen Cammy punch himself in the face on one occasion, and he hit himself so hard I thought he knocked himself out.
I used to give myself the occasional little stab in the leg with a dart. I found myself just sort of just losing focus, just a little, enough to make you sort of go, ooh.
96.
Not good if you were wearing white trousers. The Red England trousers, I suppose you'd have got away with that. It wouldn't show if you started to bleed, but yeah.
It's like that story when
45.
Jockey kicked Eric in the shin when they were at an international match, and Eric said he kicked me so hard I was just starting to feel my shoe and sock fill up.
139.
Nice work there from Bottenberg.
And he's just keeping Derek on his toes and trying to force an error.
91.
That's a super last
Jarno,
start.
you require 167.
Should guarantee Derek one dart at tops.
127.
And it's going to have to go.
Derek, you require 80.
Bottenberg's only had one dart at a double, and he was successful with one dart.
60.
As you can see there from that
Jarno,
angle, the
you
darts
require
actually sit down
40.
a fair bit lower than what I initially thought. So that was not in the way at all, that dart. In fact, it was perfect to drop on top.
Yeah, tops for Bottenberg.
Game shot on the 5th flag. Jarno Bottenberg.
Break's not a break, unless you hold.
And
they're saying that to each other.
6th flag. It's Jarno to throw
how
first.
that affects Coulson now. He's
Game
had a
on.
dart to win the match now and take himself to the final. Does it mean that Bottenberg can now throw with a bit of
134.
freedom?
Yeah, I think so. When you've faced a match dart, you sort of think, well, I'm out, and you can just open the shoulders a little bit and sort of almost
85.
play in a manner in which is how you should play the game.
134.
Well, very much like in Derek's second match of the night. This was a similar situation where he led 3-1, got pegged back, but did have the insurance of throwing first in the final leg, which proved to be vital for him in that 4-3 win.
63.
I hope Mark McGeeney's not watching this.
What, the average bit?
96. Yeah, I know you require 107.
I was thinking the same myself. Coulson seems to have gone off here, and the momentum has gone with Bottenberg.
96.
With that breaker throw.
Reaction there, he knows how big that was. Just finding the treble in the turn to take him down to a 2-dart finish.
140. Yeah, I know you require 74.
So pressure applied from Coulson. That's an 11.63. He's got to go 13 ball.
49.
Sometimes you can get a little bit greedy going for the 39 and miss the whole 13, but he went at it half-heartedly. That was good. So Coulson, like the last leg, double 10 now.
60.
So that's 3
Yeah, I know you require
match
25.
darts for a place in the final. See no indications that Jarno's going to miss darts at doubles. Well, he was.
17.
He was 2 from 3.
Derek, you require 20.
These are the days you play for, Derek. These are the days you play for.
And these are the moments. That winning dart at a double, and he finds it. And it is Derek Coulson who progresses through to the final. Decent performance in the end, but a few too many missed darts at doubles, and that's reflected in the average. You missed 14 darts at a double, pretty much a leg of darts in missed doubles. 87.5 in the end, 82.87 for Bottenberg. Like I said, just 4 from 18 on the doubles. A couple of 180s in there. That makes it 5 for the night. Up next, our second semi-final. Boris Koltsov takes on Andy Davidson.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Derek Coulson has booked his place in the final, getting the better of Jarno Bottenberg by 4 legs to 2. In a few moments' time, we'll watch Boris Koltsov and Andy Davidson go toe-to-toe for the right to face Derek in the final at around about 11 o'clock this evening. Well, in a few weeks' time, we're going to have the second Double Trouble tournament, where a certain Irishman is looking to retain his title.
Duff delivers. Sucker punch that is.
I just want full joy there, saying hold on.
And taken superbly by Mitchell.
Absolutely wonderful finish.
Get a dart of the bull. Get the bull. And the 1-2-7 again. Bullseye. The 1-2-7 again to level up at one apiece.
Absolutely beautiful. No trouble at all. Freedom.
But he pins it. He fires it. And the defending champion from Double Trouble 1 joins us in the studio. Neil Duff, great to see you. Early prep for Champions Week this?
Yeah, just thought we were in Cardiff all day today, so just thought we'd call down in. And was actually hoping to support Mark McGeeney, but he was out by the time we got here. So, yeah, it's just, it looks good. Players are playing well.
Do I ask how you got on at the Champion of Champions?
Third round by Mr. Rob Owens.
Mm-hmm.
So Stack Attack beat me, yeah. But fair play, Nick Kenny, not a minute. So congratulations to him.
Well, it's going to be a busy few weeks for yourself. Going to see you at Champions Week next week. Then after that, you're going to be at our Double Trouble tournament, of course, defending champion from the first event. First of all, what was your thoughts on the whole concept and setup? Because it was the first time in front of the cameras you'd played a double-in tournament.
It's actually a format I love. Mm-hmm. I love playing. It kind of sorts the men out from the boys. It was kind of off the back of the Seniors World Championship. I didn't play that great the first few days, but then that's what I do. Is I don't play well for the first 3 days, but later stages, then I always seem to have this knack of coming across. On the Saturday night, it was like 75% of my doubles. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a ruthless old game, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at who you're going to be put with in the second edition of Double Trouble. You're going to be in Group A, right from the start. Richie Burnett, Andreas Housen, I know you've had a few battles with here. John Henson, who of course won that World Seniors title. Robert Thornton, a man who's about 10 yards that way, Scott Mitchell.
Yeah. Any one of them can come second. I'm not sure which one it's going to be. I hope Scott gets a good run that week. He's a farmer. He likes the early morning starts, so he does. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting stuck in.
And it's going to be a busy few weeks for yourself. You're going to be playing Champions Week next week. That's going to be your third time you've played in Champions Week. You won 4 qualifying weeks but didn't play in one of them. And then you're going to be playing the Influencer event after you play week 1 of Series 9. Are you looking forward to that?
Apparently. So I wasn't sure whether I was in it or not. And then I got things sent to me last night. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that there. I kind of wanted to play with the Angry Ginge just because he's a Man United fan. So, yeah, that'll be another good day out. And then we go Double Trouble.
Well, we can see your pairs there. You're going to be paired up with, there, as you can see down the bottom there, Sean Nyland, who has 5.6 million subscribers on YouTube. First of all, I've got to ask, because I've asked some of the players who've been here, how much do you know about the influencers?
Yeah, if they're on TikTok, there's probably a chance that I've come across them. Darts for Fun, I kind of get linked up with through L-Style to do a few challenges and stuff like that there. Yeah, I don't know a lot. I'm going to have to do a bit of homework before we kick off, but I'm sure it'll be a good day, and at the end of the day, it's a charity event, so everyone wins.
And this is the type of thing you're trying to get more involved in, isn't it? This side of the sport, so your profile, being former world champion. This is a good thing for you to be involved in, isn't it?
I've kind of, in the back of my head, I've kind of like TikTok and social media is the way forward for players to put themselves out there, and obviously the more followers you get, and yeah, it is a big thing. It's a big part of the game. So yeah, for the influencer event, then it kind of gives us a chance to get ourselves known to probably lesser dart fans who watch these channels, and yeah, it can only be good for the sport.
Well, that's going to be on September the 8th. Just quickly, a word on tonight, your thoughts on the games that we've seen.
We talked about it before. I actually had Derek kind of tipped. He's very methodical, just goes about his game, understated. Very reminds me an awful lot like Matt Clark, very slow and deliberate. Where the rest of the group are actually all quick players. Yeah, so he's doing the business there, and I actually hope he goes on and wins it.
And as you know from the past, Neil Duff and predictions, they don't go wrong, do they?
I'm not often wrong. 1978, I think it was the last one. So yeah. But yeah, no, they're all good players, and I reckon it's going to be a Derek Boris final. He's at me there.
Boris is saying he just shut up, Neil. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's at me there. But I reckon it'll be a Derek and Boris final. But I think just Derek might just have the edge on it.
Right, we better not upset Boris. Neil, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you next week. And so, Davidson against Koltsov, as you can see behind us, is our second semi-final.
To win the match, that's exactly what he's done.
Going to take his place in the semi-final.
So then, here we go. Our second semi-final. Boris Koltsov up against Andy Davidson for the right to face Derek Coulson in the final. In the commentary box, Chris Mason, a former Week 12 winner, and a man who Neil Duff is going to be up against in a couple of weeks, Scott Mitchell. Fighting talk right from the get-go there, chaps.
I was trying not to listen, to be honest. But yeah, no, that's lovely to hear. I think it is going to be a good week, that, but we've got other business to deal with before then. And that's the second semi-final here. The young man from Edinburgh who's burst onto the scene here in 2024, taking on Boris Koltsov, who is just absolutely champing at the bit and enjoying every moment of this competitive dance that he's been missing out on. So
game on.
This one, a very interesting game.
It is interesting because Boris is yet to get a win
140
over Andy Davidson. They played on Thursday and Friday in
40
Group B, and it was the same scoreline, 4-2 on both occasions in favour of Andy.
140.
See, I let you have that stat. You told me that in the break. I could have stole that off you, but yeah.
100.
No, good stuff. And that does make a difference in these things mentally, doesn't it? You think about it as a player.
Absolutely. It's a
49.
positive for Andy, but it's a negative thought. And sometimes you think, oh God, I'm just going to get a win over. Can I just get one win over him?
140.
And then the pressure builds because you're aware. Not when you've got a fairly sort of equal record against someone, it doesn't matter
60.
a jot because you've had wins over them. But when you haven't beaten a certain player, it certainly used to give my head a wobble.
140.
I think Andy's the sort that if you asked him how he got on with him in the last two games, he wouldn't know.
No, wouldn't have a Scooby.
92. Andy, you require 81.
Bullseye for Davidson.
Game shot of
Bullseye
first leg,
he
Andy
hits.
Davidson.
It's like he just looks at it and just lobs at it.
Yeah. Yes, it's like you say, there's
Second
just
leg,
nothing
it's Andy to throw
manufactured about
first.
him. It's just
Game
all,
on.
it's all reactive and just all very natural.
100.
There's just no thought process. It's like, oh, I've got 81 left. Oh, if I hit a 19 there, now I'm going to hit a 12. And then I just hit the bullseye and that's that done.
81.
And that's how it comes across as well.
Yeah. And it's just hard to sort of try and put him off
55.
his rhythm. He's very sort of zoned in and not really aware of anything
60.
else going on around him.
Oh, we discussed his throw last time he was here, and he does a little twizzle with the dart in his hand before he releases. He just puts it in, then draws it back, and there's just a little twizzle.
Yep.
But he seems to get it in the right place 9 times out of 10.
And like I say, the actual point of the release and the follow through, we did a thing where we slowed it down, didn't we, to have a real closer look at it, and it's actually spot on.
$45. Andy, you require 110.
A wry smile. That may be followed by a frown, because he's left himself double 12. And there's nothing Boris can do except try and put on a bit of pressure, and that'll work.
Andy required 24.
Boris looks at himself and just say, why now? But it's good pressure.
18.
Look what it's done to the young man.
It's the only way you can negatively influence your opponent. Well, legally.
Game shot on a second leg. Boris Koltsov.
Or should I say by the rules?
Third leg, it's Boris to throw first.
I remember you trying to put me off once on a 117 shot out, Mace.
Yeah, I remember that. That was Champions of Champions, wasn't it? Was that Yeovil or something like that?
I know, I've got a feeling it was Coventry. It was at the finals.
It was, yeah. It was the finals, yeah. Yeah, we did have a bit of a do.
Yeah.
60.
You said to me you won't hit that. I went and hit it. Give it to your back large in your lug holes, and yeah.
That was that.
Next thing you know, it was
100.
Lots of referees involved.
I don't think anybody wanted to get involved. They had a look and went, I think I'll give that a swerve.
Yeah.
You crack on, lads.
Yeah, we started it and wandered off.
Wow, look at this for a sequence of turns. 61, 81, 40, 61, 80. Ooh.
45. Boris, you require 121.
Neil Duff tipped up Boris, didn't he?
53. 58. Boris, you require 68.
Options here. Will he go? There we go. 36 for 32. We know he's little. He's
36.
pretty prolific on 32, but he caught the flight.
158.
It's not going to go.
58. Boris, you require 32. Game shot on a third
say,
leg.
surely he
Boris
doesn't miss this
Koltsov.
time. Nothing to panic about yet for Davidson. It's only going with throw.
Yep. It's all,
Full flag. It's Andy to throw first.
all on throw.
Game on. 121. 60. 66.
Got a little bit of a cushion.
59.
Now he really needs to just step on the gas.
It's always strange in a situation like that. It's quite often you see a non-treble visit followed by a non-treble score, like followed by a non-treble visit. And you think you've given the game up, and then your opponent doesn't go in it either.
Bit of a loose one. The timing there, something you mentioned, was just slightly off. That brought the shoulder into play slightly.
55. Andy, you require 133. 93.
That's 76 you were on about, wasn't it?
Indeed.
100. Andy, you require 40. 20.
Now, for me, he threw those
Boris,
darts, not because of the fly, even when he put his
127.
foot to the hockey, split second slower because he was thinking.
Yeah. He may pay the price, 888.
111. Andy, you require 20. Gave shot of four
That was
flag.
much quicker,
Andy Davidson.
much more deliberate.
Yeah. Less thought.
Yeah, that's it.
Fifth
Has to
flag.
take
It's
the thought
Boris to throw
process away.
first. Game on. $96. $61.
Well, if it keeps going with throw, Andy's going to run out of legs.
81. $100.
There's been a lot of conversations this week regarding the format of the semi and the
55.
final. I certainly would like to see the semi and final extended on Champions Week, maybe to
100.
best of 9 and then best of 11 for the final. I think you're playing
A lot
for
a lot to do with the amount of money that's up for grabs
Yeah.
as well, isn't it? You know, it's I'd like to see that.
99.
£25,000 for the winner, and it's a race to 4. I mean, that also is a bit of the attraction to it.
58. Boris, you
I
require
just think for Champions
170.
Week, I think I wouldn't change anything else. But I just think the players that have reached it's been a long journey to get to that semi-final to play in a match where if you're just off the boil briefly, it can be all over.
150.
To lead
Boris, you
32,
require
beautiful
45.
shot.
16s again for
Jarno fifth leg. Boris Koltsov.
He was aware how big that was.
Sixth flag. It's Andy to throw first. Game on. $134. $51. $99.
Decided to go back up after coming down for cover. Maybe the open target of the 54 may have been a better option.
60.
Yeah, if he hits the treble 20 here, you'd expect him to go down.
95.
Well, there's nothing Boris can do from 390 to leave a finish, so no real damage done.
100. $100. $140. Andy requires 73.
Good visit from Koltsov, but is it too late? The
Yeah,
answer is
Jarno
yes,
sixth
and
flag,
that is
Andy
a
Davidson.
very accomplished finish at 73. Under a lot of pressure there for the young man.
Yeah,
Seven
I mean,
from
it's
final leg. It's Boris
such a
to throw
level
first.
feeling
Game
game.
on.
3 from 9 for Andy, 3 from 7 for Boris, 89.05 Boris, 88.7 Andy. The more tons for Andy is
80.
negated by the one more 180 for Boris, but really does look, if you just looked at the stats and you didn't know what the score was after 6 legs, you'd say it's going to be 3-3.
125.
Yeah, super visit there. Jumped on top of that. Dart on dart out there from Koltsov.
85.
A bit of shoulder in that one from Koltsov
Yeah, there
as
was.
well. I think it shows the importance of the visit.
177.
Oh, what a time to find that. Outstanding from Andy Davidson.
100.
Well, Boris is close enough to punish any kind of mistake,
139.
but there isn't one.
You have to feel this needs to be a 180. 140 would be good.
81.
Went with it with the last start, didn't he?
Yeah, just lent in. Tops. That'd have been for an 11 darter. It's a 12 dart Baker throw, and it's a place in the final for Andy Davidson. Absolutely outstanding performance. And yet again, in another final, and you can see he's absolutely thrilled with that. Averages 88.77 for Boris, Andy 92.72, 4 from 11. They won 180, but there was a 177, which was equally as important in the context of the match. He wins 4-3 and will play Derek Coulson in our final. That'll be with us after a short break.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already.
Itching to hit the 180.
He's gone for the maximum. 18 for the bull. Bull.
53. No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape.
Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Yeah, match starts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is. Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Oh, Bosch.
Pie Face is through.
And he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that Pie Face dominated throughout.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where our final is now set in stone. It sees Derek Coulson take on Andy Davidson for the final spot through to Champions League. Former Week 12 winner Chris Mason is alongside. He's been watching every dart in the commentary box alongside Scott Mitchell, and this is what we've seen this evening. Coulson beating Bottenberg 4-2, and Davidson beating Koltsov in a last leg decider, setting up the final that we're going to see in around about 10 minutes' time. Let's talk in chronological order then in terms of our semi-finals and begin with the first one. Derek Coulson 4-2 against Jarno Bottenberg, got his nose in front and really controlled that semi-final, didn't he?
Yeah, he just sort of was able to fend him off. The pace of the game didn't particularly suit Jarno, but that's no problem for Derek to worry about. And it was just he's just rock solid. I think Neil Duff was spot on. He is very much like a Matt Clark. He just takes his time. He gives every dart all the concentration he can. And listen, he's reaping the boards. He's in the final.
How do you combat a player then, like Derek? Because it's not deliberate at all.
No, you just literally just got to almost give yourself a diversion. So, you know, I always encourage players, especially on the big PDC stages, is just go to your drinks table, have a fiddle in your dart case, add a sip of water, and then start to meander around. By that point, they'll probably be throwing their last dart, and you'll be stepping into the oche, and away you go. It's just, the problem is, if you stand directly behind a player, you can become more focused on what they're doing rather than worrying about what you should be doing.
Well, Derek Coulson won the battle between the players who played in Group C. Andy Davidson won the battle between the players in Group B. But will Boris Koltsov feel like that was opportunity let slip?
Not really. I don't think there was too much he could do about it. I mean, he battled back well, took the lead, got pegged back, and Andy produces a 12 dart in the decider, and it's not an anomaly. He's beaten him every time he's played him. That's 3 from 3 now in favour of Andy Davidson.
In terms of Andy, does it look like he's now peaking at the right time of the week?
Yeah, I don't think I sort of understood when we spoke to him last night at the end of the session. He wasn't overly thrilled with his level of play, but there was good aspects of it, and the fact that he recognised early on, right, I'm not quite in the 180s or the 177s or the big 2 treble visits. He just sort of knuckled down and thought, right, I've just got to change it up and have a different approach and not worry too much about the averages, worry about the wins, and they take care of themselves.
Well, both players are vying for the final spot at Champions Week. We'll preview this final in just a second, but let's look ahead to next week. It kickstarts Monday morning at 9:30, and they're looking, all the players in Champions Week, to join a historic list of names.
It's the barbarian Conan Whiting! The Guru, Raymond Smith!
Gonna get better than that too at double 14.
He is Jim McEwen!
Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison!
This time next week, Andreas Harrison will not be the reigning Modus Super Series champion. He was knocked out of contention early on in the phase by Richard Rowan. These are the 11 players confirmed to be at Champions Week for Monday morning. Tom Sykes, all the way back in June, the first player to book his spot through. Steve West doing so last week. But is it fair to say that all the eyes come Monday will be on Connor Scott?
Yeah, I think so, the way he's been playing of late, but there's so many good players in there. You can't discount Steve West, whose confidence will be super high after returning from a really serious operation that took him off his feet for months. And I'm pretty sure he had some doubts in his mind of how things were going to go, but he was another one that really played himself into form throughout the week, and he will arrive here as one of the favourites, as is Tom Sykes and Connor Scott.
And there's a real interesting mix of players, because you've got a lot of players who've been there, done it, worn the T-shirt before, and people making their first appearances at Champions Weeks.
Yeah, I like the look of Jim Long. He's an experienced player. He's not going to be adversely affected by any situation that may arise here, and he's been playing some really good stuff of late. So as far as he will be regarded as an outsider, but for me, a lively outsider.
Well, Champions Week kick-starts Monday morning from 9:30. But before that, we have a final for you between Derek Coulson and Andy Davidson. The victor will book that final spot. Now, you're a player who won Week 12 of a series. Does it feel more serious because it's so close to the big occasion? Does it feel a little bit different?
Yeah, I suppose in a way, but really that's just taken away, and the focus on it is just winning the tournament. That's all you want to do. Everything else that comes with it, the money, etc., the fact that you're into Champions Week is a bit of a bonus. But the advantage here is with Andy. He's a proven winner up there. He's won one. He knows what it takes. He's gone through this whole process before, where for Derek it's the opposite. So Derek, being the older, you'd think is more experienced, but certainly here the experience lies with Adam. It's going to be a fascinating final. Two different styles of player. One's very measured, a real aimer, where you've got a much quicker thrower, a more natural, a more instinctive thrower in Andy. It's going to be a fascinating final. It's two different styles of play.
Is it a lot about Andy adapting to the way Derek plays in terms of what he does when he's not at the Oki?
Yeah, I think so, because the rest of the field tonight are all of a very similar place, and he hasn't experienced it. But I'm sure, listen, he plays a lot of darts, and this Derek's not overly slow. It's he's just more methodical. He's fairly one-paced. Yeah, it's one of those things. He can't get frustrated when things aren't going his way, and then sort of try and rush the thing, because what you end up doing is speeding up your own game to almost counter the pace of your opponent, and you just can't do that. And hopefully he would have listened to enough of what we say about those situations and just be mindful of that.
In terms of Derek, what have you been so pleased with him tonight?
Who, Andy?
Derek.
That he's playing like he's been playing on the seniors tour. I mean, Neil Duff spoke very highly of him, and Neil's seen him up close and personal and watched him play many matches, and probably like me as well, when he's not there, you keep an eye on the numbers, because he is a guy that sort of caught my attention because he was regularly in averages in the 90s. And like I said, he's had a 105 down there this season as well. So the fact that he didn't play well, and then when it was really put on him in the last 3 games of the session that he had to win, he didn't really falter. He went 12 from 22 on doubles. He averaged 3 consecutive matches into the 90s. And then he's turned up here tonight and looked at a completely different player from the one we saw in the early stages of his group.
But is it a different type of pressure in the final when you can actually see the trophy on the stage?
Yeah, you don't really look at it, mate. He just... all he'll be focused on is his opponent in front of him in that dartboard and getting to 4 legs. So that's just hitting 4 doubles. That's all he'll be thinking about. And then everything else comes after. You don't think about winning. You just or what you're going to win. You just want to win that one individual game and go home happy. Well, you won't be going home. Maybe for a day. I think he'll be back here, well, possibly Monday, but I think it's likely that he'd be in
B or C.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're playing for, the trophy. One final question. Who wins it?
Andy.
Mace, thank you very much for now. You're going to be in comms with Scott Mitchell for the final to see who is going to put the final place through to Champions Week. It's going to be one of Derek Coulson or Andy Davidson who are going to complete the darting dozen.
Dart at a double, and he finds it, and it is Derek Coulson. It's a 12 dart break to throw, and it's a place in the final.
Stage is set, scene is set, and one final place through to Champions Week is about to be made. The final ticket, the final invitation to the big moment, the big week, which begins Monday morning from 9:30. Andy Davidson's been there before. Derek Coulson looking to do so for the first time. And for the final time this evening, let's hand over to our commentary team of Scott Mitchell and Chris Mason.
Thank you. Thanks, Henry. Good stuff.
Sorry, pal.
Good stuff. Yeah, big final here. The whole week culminates down to this one match in the next 20 minutes. Will it be the young man from Edinburgh, Andy Davidson, or will it be the super senior in Derek Coulson? Both have showed flashes of brilliance this evening, and that's why they are in the final.
First leg, it's Derek to throw first. It's game on.
Derek has obviously won the bull-up in the back room.
Yeah, the only bull-up you do at the Super Series.
'96.
And in a race to 4, winning the ball can be absolutely massive.
100.
Who do you fancy for the win, Scott?
I think my heart says I'd love to see Derek win it.
Same.
But my head says probably Andy could have a little bit too much for him.
140.
Yeah, and throughout the night, he's just every time he's found a way, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gets asked the question, and for one so young, he just gets himself around it. He doesn't look to get too upset with anything. He just gets himself out of it. But Derek has done this all night as well, and made sure that he has not had a problem. And of course, he hasn't lost a game all night yet either.
No. Very, very true. And Andy, of course, was beaten.
60.
Feels like ages
Andy,
ago,
you
but
require
it wasn't.
121.
Derek beat Andy in match number 3 of this evening. It was a tight affair, 4-3.
97.
But that could
Derek,
have a
you
little bit of a
require
bearing. It could give
120.
Derek a lot of confidence going into this, knowing that he's already got a win over him. And he did have the throw in that deciding leg. Tops. Wow.
Game shot on the first leg. Derek Coulson.
Big dart, big moment. And the first swinging point here has gone to Coulson. And
Second
that was a
leg.
good
It's
hold
Andy
of
to
throw.
First.
Yeah, he was put
Game
under
on.
a lot of pressure. Andy there after 12 is left to 24 and
85.
not got to go. And with someone like Andy, that's to beat him, that's what you've got to do. You've got to just not give him opportunities. And Derek made sure of that. I mean, early in the week,
95.
Henry did ask me as an outsider, do I fancy to win it? And I did say Derek Coulson because I looked at the numbers
58.
he's been producing on that seniors tour in, against players that I'm sure he's looked up to over the years or watched on TV, and he doesn't worry about reputation, that's for sure.
140.
And like we explained earlier, it's why the seniors are so good.
98.
Derek is applying his trade there most of the year and being a winner there. And I think if this went his way this evening, I think it would be
59.
one of the biggest moments in his darting life.
For sure.
$74.
Opportunity for Derek here to get an early break. No finish for Davidson, so 6 starts at this, if needed. I was going to say, if he hits another treble 20, he may only need 4.
97. $85. Derek, you require 110.
Up the top again.
Game shot on the
And
second
again,
leg.
he hits
Derek
it.
Coulson.
Same result. 2 from 2 on the doubles. We did have a
Third
4
leg,
from
it's
4
Derek to throw first.
from Boris.
Game on.
He's out. He went out to Boris, his opponent in the last semi-final, of course, by 4 legs to 3.
100.
The fear now in the final when you get 2-0 up and it's a race to 4, that you can start to try and throw like you're defending.
140.
And throw safe darts, can't you, mate?
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on, Scott. And it's something that people probably don't even think is a thing, but you do. You go defensive, and you just try and defend your lead rather than increase your lead.
You start throwing, I've got to stay straight and make sure I hit the 20s. Yeah. They'll drop, I'll find one, it'll work. No.
45.
The reason you're 2-0 up is you've attacked.
Yep.
And you have to keep the hammer down.
I think that's what made Taylor just such a machine. If it was a race to 10, he would have beat you 11-0.
45. $96.
So Andy is a dart or so in front on the Coulson throw, and that's that gone. He'd love a 140.
140.
And gets one. Well, he's averaging 99.07. Andy Davidson, 96.5. Yet to get a dart
45.
at a double.
Derek, you require
Derek with checks of
116.
120 and 110. Not Mr. Dart at a double. And here's another ton pluser. Can he do it 3 from 3? That's not a bad guide for him. Oh, just couldn't nip underneath it.
$60.
Had to move across there because, as we've said from other camera angles, we've seen how flat his dart goes in.
I think your 48 shot there
99.
has some value, because if you don't miss it, it leaves you 60. And like you say, he hasn't got to worry about obscuring the dart at the single 20. Ooh, that's just nipped in First dart at tops he's missed.
46. Andy, you require 76.
Big moments. 16 for double top of his own.
Game shot on the third leg.
And that
Andy
is big.
Davidson.
Big, big, big. He misses that. You would think he was going 3-0
flag,
down.
it's Andy to
And in a
first.
world of trouble.
Game on.
No, we're effectively back on throw with that break. But
41.
only 41. Music to the ears of Derek Coulson.
It's all about getting himself composed and back to where he was.
Yeah, and probably losing that leg, it will, because he will forget about defending the lead now and he'll go back on the attack.
Safe, safe, safe. Disappears out the window.
Oh, yeah.
97.
That's a beautiful dart.
108.
One right, one left, one down the pipe.
57. $60.
He would have wanted to just turn the corner there to make sure he was two of the corners in front
Derek,
of
you require
Davidson. But
121.
can go the ball route here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Instantly takes out of the equation.
85.
Tied is up perfectly. Double 18 after 12 darts thrown.
100.
Maintaining
Derek,
of
you
an
require
average in the
36.
late 90s. And we're now into the end of leg 4. Well, that's okay.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
And that's
Derek
even
Coulson.
better. It's one good thing about double 18 if
Fifth
you're up
flag,
there and
it's
you
Derek
are a
to
little
throw
bit
first. Game on.
cagey about your attempt.
Yeah. The beauty of winning that leg, of course, means that he has the darts in this one
100.
to get over the line, and that was a very good ton. I thought it was a 140.
134.
He's just been a click behind, hasn't he, Andy Davidson, in this match? Always felt like he's trying to chase him down.
Yeah, and that's been with Coulson being right on it, hasn't it?
100.
It probably. We said early doors here tonight where he won his 2 group games, Coulson, that he was just doing enough to do what he needed to do
85.
to get by. And if somebody came and gave him that game, he would step up to it. And that's exactly what he's done in his semi-final against Bottenberg. And now he's doing it here.
Yep, he's doing it again against Davidson.
100.
That is ton, ton, ton. You'll remember this, Scott. The perfect red pen leg
96.
at Super League. Ton, 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 101 out. All red.
Absolutely. I go the new way now. I go ton, 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 105, 96 out.
Just to let him
60.
use some blue pen. There's Kendrick and Simon. Good to see him here. They will have aspirations, of course,
80.
of being in the
Derek,
positions
you
that
require
these two are in.
141.
For a third ton plus out and the title.
Not to be this time, but we want to leave it handy.
65.
I like the use of the ball,
Andy, you
ball on
require
dart 2.
106.
Shots on. Double 16.
74. Derek, you require 76.
So it's going to be 1 dart at tops. It's been his friend.
Game
And it's his friend
shot.
again,
And the Modus Super
as Derek
Series Week 12
Coulson
champion,
is our
Derek
Week 12
Coulson.
Series 8 champion. He now takes his spot in Champions Week. And he won't have too long to enjoy it, because that starts next week on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. and we will confirm all of the groups next week. I think we are nearly... Here we go, Derek Coulson, 92.41, 88.04 for Andy Davidson, couple of 180s for Coulson, and look at that finishing. 4 from 8 and 2 ton plus finishes in the final. The 120 was followed by 110. I think we are ready for the presentation, so I will hand you over to Jack Garwood.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for your presentation. Taking the 12th and final spot in the Series 8 Champions Week, your Week 12 champion, Derek Coulson!
Name into Champions Week. He came so close to qualify for the Saturday night last time. He did so this time. Not just has he done that, but he has won the whole lot. He was a player that a lot of people wanted to see back here. He has come back here and he has won the trophy. Scott Mitchell is alongside me, and those 2 ton plus checkouts, that was ultimately what swayed that match.
Yeah, he put doubt in Andy Davidson's mind, didn't he? Every time he got there, he took it out first start. And the only way I know to hurt an opposition player is to it's just got to finish quickly. And then that makes them have the pressure of having to get there first. And that's when things can start to fall apart.
How do you think Andy will be feeling right now?
I think he's a very level-headed lad. I think he'll know that he was probably outplayed. He'll know what the difference was in that game, and I think that he'll bounce back from that. He will, like he said, he will get. He's a popular fella between all the guys, and just goes to show there in the camera shots that even the world champs having to say hello. You know, the former world champ. So, look, I think he's a young man that has a very bright future. This isn't the end for Andy Davidson. This is the very start, and we should all look forward to seeing more of him.
Well, Andy Davidson departs. Derek Coulson comes in. Come in, my friend. Many, many congratulations. The winner of Week 12. Put it there. Take a seat. Relax. And just, if you can, just try and begin to find the words to describe what's just happened.
I don't really have any words, to be honest. I mean, the way the guys were playing, Boris, Mark, Andy, I was like, I'm just going to get battered here. But I don't know, I just dug in. It's match play, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's just getting the win. Doesn't matter how you play, just get the win. I dug in, and that's what happened.
You've run tournaments on the World Seniors Tour before. How much does that experience there, the fact that you've done things in the past, how much did that help you, particularly on a night like tonight?
Massive. Massive. The seniors has changed my game. Totally changed my game. My best averages have been in finals. You know, I've won with 106 and 102 in finals. So it was like, when I stepped up there tonight, I was like, just throw your darts, see what happens, you know. So there was no nerves. I was just get on with it.
We spoke at the beginning of the night, and one of the questions I asked you was freedom. Could you play with that air of freedom? Did you play that way this season?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it wasn't great, but I've not been great all week, but I've dug in. And finally, the doubles, I hit tops. Did you see that?
I know.
Last leg, I hit tops.
A couple of times, mate. Couple
Was
of
it?
times.
I can't remember. I remember the last one.
It was absolutely nice. I've got to say, I felt that this evening, you started the evening just playing to get through the group. You weren't worried about averages. And I said that in commentary that he's a guy that's just going to keep going and going. And then every time you ask him a question, he's going to do his very best to answer it. And I think that sums up your evening. Every time you were asked to step up, you stepped up.
Totally. I mean, averages, we all have a good average, but it doesn't matter if you don't win the game. Yeah, it's irrelevant. You know, you've just got to do what you do. And if somebody's not thrown against you, you've got to take advantage of that. And that's what I did tonight. I took advantage of people not playing their best. But that's the way it goes.
Well, I think you're doing yourself a disservice there, mate. I think you were making them not allow them to do their average because you were playing that well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fast player, and there's a lot of fast players in there. Whether that affected their game, I don't know. But I didn't slow them down. I just played my game, so that was important.
Can I ask about that aspect for a player, obviously, like yourself, who's not the quickest? Obviously, it's something that's just your natural game. But is it something, and I suppose you could probably relate to this as well, Scott, that creeps into your mind a little bit, even though it probably shouldn't?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've played games in the past where I've played a fast player, I'm 2-0 down because I'm playing their speed and realised, what are you doing? You know, you've got to play your own game, and that's, I mean, Scott's a prime example. You've got to play your own game, and that's when I came Thursday, I was playing a bit quick. I watched it back, and I was like, I'm throwing too fast here. So Friday, I just play your own game, and again, I did it tonight, and I think it proved it worked.
Let's go back to the final and those 2 ton-plus checkouts. Did that feel like the moments that swayed the final in your favour?
Totally. Until I missed tops and 10s again. I love double 10, but it's been a nightmare for me this week. But even when I missed it, I was like, I'm playing well enough, just keeping on. And I think I struck off the next one with a ton 40. So it was like, it's not going to bother me. Just got to get on with it. So, yeah, I mean, I was solid. That's all I can say, solid.
And you're the man who's picked up the trophy. And I can have another chat with you in just a second, Derek, but myself and Scott are going to wrap up everything that we've seen this evening as another round of qualifications for Champions Week comes to a close. Derek Coulson then beating Andy Davidson by 4-1 in the final. In terms of the semi-finals, Scott, Boris Koltsov and Jarno Bottenberg, how do you think they'll be leaving the building this evening?
Well, I think they'll feel it's a missed opportunity, but you're not a dart player if you're not feeling like that. Derek would have felt the same if it hadn't gone his way. He'd have felt it was there for him tonight. I think they're both young men, still got sort of futures. Boris, I think we can easily say he's a little bit rusty. He's been out of the game a little while, through no fault of his own. We must say that. But, wow, he's going to come back with a big bang, isn't he? If he can get a few tournaments under his belt. If that's what he's got after being a bit rusty, then you're going to have to keep an eye out for Boris, that's for sure.
Do you want to watch the trophy lift again, Derek?
Go on, then.
Have a look down on that monitor down there. This felt like a moment of relief. Did this feel like all the hard work just all culminating into a moment there?
Yeah, I mean, the seniors has changed my game. Totally changed my game. I was enjoying darts. I love playing darts. But turning up on the seniors and the quality that's on that tour has totally changed me as a player. And coming here, I know the quality in that back room was phenomenal. And the way Boris was playing, I didn't expect to be sitting here, if I'm honest. But I'm over the moon with the way it's gone, the way I've dug in, and there's more to come. I mean, I don't think I played my best tonight, to be honest.
And that more to come is going to be very, very soon because you're going to be in Champions Week. Yeah. Now, we don't quite know the breakdown yet. We will confirm that in due course. But we could put Derek Coulson as the 12th name in the bottom right-hand corner of that graphic. Now, you are the last player to fill that Champions Week card, so you can see everybody else that's in the field. When you look at everybody else that's there, what's your first thoughts?
Go to the toilet. Seniors. There's 4 or 5 seniors on there, and I love it. It's fantastic. It's, to put yourself up against the best, and I mean, there is the best here. Outside of the PDC, this is the best there is. So I can't wait just to put myself up against it. I just need to get some holiday. I don't know how much time I've got left, but I'll sort it out one way or another.
If you're Derek Coulson's boss, please, we need him next week. Please give him the annual leave that he needs. But in terms of those 12 names, Scott, we look at that Champions Week. We're going to be together for a couple of days of it next week as well. When you look at that lineup, does it feel like a real broad church? You've got the likes of Scott, who's, of course, top of the Challenge Tour right now. You've got Neil Duff, Derek Coulson of the seniors game. Then you've got emerging talents, the likes of Jimmy Van Schie. And Adam Paxton, who, of course, came from right under the radar to win his week.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of everything, actually. Like you say, for me, the 5 seniors stand out there. Jim Long, Hogan, yourself. Yeah. I mean, we play on that top. For us, that is absolutely amazing to have 5 players in Champions Week. It shows exactly what Derek is saying. But we also have a part to play as seniors to teach those new up-and-coming youngsters a thing or two, because we've still got a bit to go. So I'm looking at this as a really fascinating week. I want to see the guys play, because some of these guys won back a few weeks ago now, and it may be hard for them to get on the pace where hopefully, the guys that have won in the last few weeks, they'll be on the pace and ready to go.
Do you see it as an advantage, the fact you've won week 12, Derek? The fact you can go straight into Champions League? Or have you not even thought about that yet?
I wouldn't say I've thought about it, but it's got to be. I've been playing 3 days solid. Guys that win week 1, I know they're still playing darts, but being away it's a long time to be away from it. To come back in, the pressure's on. So I'm the same. I think we had the interview earlier. I think just go under the radar. I'm just going to rock up and do what I do. And see what happens.
And finally, is next week the biggest week of Derek Coulson's darts career so far?
Oh, without a doubt. I can't wait. Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits. I honestly didn't expect to be sitting here now, but I can't wait for next week now. Really looking forward to it.
And you join a very good list of names to have won week 12. You've spoken about Chris Mason, but you join John Henderson, Darryl Pilgrim, Steve West, Scott Taylor, Cam Crabtree as players that have won week 12s of a series. It's not a bad club to be in.
I'll take that, yeah.
Well, Derek, many, many congratulations. We shall see you next week at Champions Week. Scott, final word goes to you this evening, because it all gets underway Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. What should we expect to see at Champions Week?
I think we will see more of the standard of that final. I think we're going to see sort of like the standard being a little bit higher than the usual weekly stuff. And I think we're going to see fireworks, because we still don't know who's going to win that. There's 12 really decent players in this, and I don't know how the bookies are going to separate them.
It's going to be interesting. Just finally, just to confirm, you're going to be in Group C on
That'll do me.
Friday afternoon. You've done it this week. Maybe you can
I'm happy with Group C.
Next week as well. Well, Derek, many congratulations. Thank you very much for popping up. Scott, always a pleasure. See you next week. We shall see you next week as well. Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. It gets underway. Champions Week in Series 8 to see who is going to join a list of legends to pick up the big trophy and a record-breaking £25,000 first prize. And the last ticket through to that Champions Week, well, it goes to Derek Coulson. Bye from us.
Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible.
And those 3 words are, you are mine.
And that is reeled.
This is for the win. It would be the biggest finish of the entire week. Oh, Jim.
Game, shot, and the match.
Don't rely on what's happening on this board, first and foremost. Oh, don't look. But do look at double 18.
Game shown the 5th leg.
He feels good. He feels wonderful. A 150 clearance from Jimmy Van Schie.
Perfect first dart. It's double 18. That's the Neil Duff.
Track the progress of players. Paul Hogan, though, well known, and he's won that well.
Its special nature now, hasn't it? Now we need to see 2 9-darters in a game. But what a shot that is from Paxton. He's just took out the 112 and now the 170.
Another. Yes. The ball. Yes. A fantastic maximum finish from Connor Scott.
Listen.
Game shot on the match. Thomas back.
It might take something very special. Very, very special. Oh, yes, Marvin Van Velden. What a finish that is.
Would sting. This would hurt. This could be catastrophic. That could be cataclysmic for Milford.
Jamie Owens. Storm.